Jim is such a prick. I swear to God. I can't. Oh,
now we're live.
my bad.
Yeah. And I was not eating a kielbasa on the toilet.
You were so full of it.
He was just making a kielbasa.
I was.
You were still chewing, buddy. You were still chewing when you went in there. That's all we're saying.
On the toilet. I did have kielbasa just before the show.
He's such a prick. I swear to God.
Oh, Dusty.
That's not me.
Are you sure? Yeah. And I was not eating a kielbasa on the toilet.
Jason. You were so full of it.
He was just making a kielbasa.
Jason.
It is Jason.
Yeah. You know what? I muted him. Jason, go turn the YouTube. Dear God, how many times have you done this, Jason?
Turn your YouTube volume off, Jason.
We've muted you in here now because we don't want to hear you or that. So
I think he's actually me. It is to you. You're in another. It's in another window.
Oh shit! It is. Is it?
Dear God, how many times? Find it there, buddy.
Volume off, Jason.
How many glasses of red wine you had? Okay, it's still
I'm
going.
doing it.
By the way, we're having a show.
How many tabs do you have open?
Hold on. Oh, I see what's happening.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you until you
No, I
figure
got
it
it.
out.
I got it. It's all good.
You got it.
It was on the Facebook group. The little one was on.
Wow.
Sure. Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
I didn't mind hearing that intro again. That was good.
Do we have an intro? I'm sorry. Welcome to the show.
We really don't. We suck at this.
Okay, so where are we? Who are we? The who, what, where, and how. And we have our first comment of the night.
The show sucks.
I can pass for John Candy.
I'm giving you a thumbs down.
No. He can only pass for John Candy if he's doing the armed and dangerous, hiding from the cop scene. John Candy, with the hair.
I was thinking the other guy doing the karate thing.
John Candy's pretty dead. Just saying.
I'm gonna say, yeah. If I could pass for John Candy, I'm gonna be dead by the time I'm 55. It's not a good goal.
55, was he?
I don't think he lived that long.
He died young. He did.
Mid-fit.
He was 44.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, he
That's
died young.
worse.
Born in 19. Well, actually, he was 43 because he hadn't had his birthday yet. Born in 1950 and died in 94 before his 44th
Wow.
birthday. Damn, how old am I?
You're older than that.
I didn't realize it'd been that long ago.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a reseller happy hour. We're going to talk about whatever. We don't really have a script or anything.
Really?
Go ahead and leave your comments. No, we don't. Leave your questions and comments over in the chat. We'll try to get to them the best we can. And we're probably going to talk about like poop and reselling and probably more poop. Kabasi. Yeah. Scott Zilke says, so what did I miss? Is Amazon dead? Should I stop this shipment?
No, Amazon is going to be nothing but Zilke's on here pretty soon.
Right. And there's Jeff.
Hey.
Let's talk about Amazon for a minute. How are those crickets?
Not in my house.
What's up, Jeff?
Not much, Dusty.
Jeff.
Man, you're working hard. I like that empty postal tote behind you.
The
And
what?
all your orders from this weekend?
Oh, yeah. I haven't started shipping yet. Usually I have most of my shipping done by now.
I actually started early and I'm completely 100% caught up, which is awesome.
Almost there.
I was going to list today, and then I started looking at the list of things to ship, and I was like, yeah.
I only have 5 things to list, so I'm going to wait till next week.
Hitting it hard, huh, Jeff?
Yeah. It was a rough time at the swap meet this weekend. I just found out my haul away place lost their lease, so I might lose that place as a sourcing. So, yeah. What's up with
They
the
lost
Amazon?
their lease. Doesn't mean they're going to go out of business. They've got to relocate.
Yeah, I don't know. They've been up and down. They tried to go retail for a while, and then the city came down on them for. They had everything out in the backyard of the retail space, and they said, no, you have to have everything inside. So they gave up on that. And
Are they in the city limits of like whatever? Can they move like outside the city limits, like county or something?
well, where they're at now, and they've been doing it for a few years and had no problem. It's only when they went to the retail place that the city wouldn't let them put things out in the yard. And it was a fenced-in yard, and the fence had that privacy crap. So I don't know what's up with the city.
A lot of our thrift stores here put stuff out on the sidewalk and stuff like that, like the mom and pop type places, and the city cracks down on that. And basically, if the guy that drives around is pretty cool, but he'll give warnings, and then he's like, okay, next time it's a $350 fine. And then they quit cracking down on it quite so much, and so the most of the stores are back to doing it, but they totally do it on weekends when the zoning guy's not out. So
Yeah.
I hope they stay in business, and I just hope they don't go far away. Because it's been a great, everything I bought there is basically sold in high dollar. And they get great prices.
can you like keep in touch with one of the people that runs it or something? Is there a way to do that? Like in case it's like
Yeah, I know on Facebook. So they have a Facebook page, so I keep in touch with them that way. So yeah, it's not hard to lose them. They have these big blue trucks, you know, the big plywood side trucks. You know, so I see them around town all the time. So
Are they one of those call us up and we'll haul your crap away for nothing?
yeah, now they charge to haul everything, and then anything that's sellable they throw in their yard. And they used to do it, you know, Monday through or Tuesday through Saturday. Now they're down to Saturdays only. So that's why I kind of have in my mind that they may stop for a while. Because when they lost the retail place, they stopped totally for 2 or 3 months.
Brian wants to know the difference between a kielbasa poop and a bratwurst poop.
Texture.
It's good. Texture.
Excellent.
Length?
Length. Okay.
Weight.
Wait. Density.
Mass.
Girth.
Not the size that matters. It's
I'm
how it
pretty
feels
sure
now.
girth is not going to change a whole lot between the two. I mean, you know.
First 10 minutes of the show, says Jason, is sponsored by Hillshire Farms. Solar toilet.
So what's everybody up to this week? Dusty, I know you bought a storage locker, right?
I did. You know, I kind of was, kind of had the bug, and it's been a few years since we bought one, and there was one that, and I still check them, and you know, a lot of the companies are going to online, and so I kind of glanced through the ones online, and I was talking about maybe going back to a live auction. I mean, because we have several a week here in this town. I mean, apparently we have a lot of people that default. Go figure. But I always glance at the online ones, and there was one that kind of piqued my interest, and well, actually a lot. And I spent about 3 days. There was about 12 pictures, and they had a zoom feature. And they had actually taken decent pictures, and I spent along with y'all, spent about 3 days zooming in. Can you see what that box says? Can you see what figure out the guy's name, figured out his address. went down the
Basically,
total
Dusty's
rabbit.
the flyers with like little angels on his shoulders going, "Ooh, look at that! You should buy that. Ooh, look at that! You should buy that."
No, that's where you got to watch Eric. Bit higher. So long story short, kind of figured out the backstory. The more we got looking at this unit and the layer of dust, I mean, it was obvious the storage unit company didn't go in and toss it and pick through it, and it was obvious that whoever owned it hadn't been in it in many years. Piecing together the guy's kind of timeline, we kind of figured out that he had probably put the stuff in there in the late 90s and then just never came back. Who knows what they all paid for 20 years. Turned out that was actually spot on correct. Had a really good conversation with the guy that owns the storage unit place. And so it was interesting. Now, the downside to that is, a mouse had gotten in there at one time. Thank God it didn't eat through a lot of stuff, but it did shit on everything.
There was no way that all that shit came from one mouse.
And a layer, this is an outdoor. This is an outdoor. I don't know. We did find the mouse carcass though, but and it was completely just like bones, like a little
He ripped himself apart.
That was the last mouse.
Yeah, the scanner mouse.
It wasn't climate controlled, so with those kind of units, you are going to get some dust and stuff is going to come over the years. So 20 years worth of dust. So after blowing what I call storage unit boogies out of our noses for 2 days, and Tristan's asthma about shut her down, and our son Gabe helped. But yeah, it was cool. The guy was into video games and computers and electronics, and it was probably a military engineer that worked on satellites from the nearest I can tell. So it was definitely, I got a truckload. My truck is full up above the cab all the way across with stuff to haul off to the dump or wherever. Like, it's not even worth donating. But it wasn't a lot of kitchen stuff. It literally was, it was like he put his memories and his work equipment in there and his work related stuff.
Den or something went in there.
The extent of the kitchen stuff was like I found one coffee maker in a box, and it was some crap brand, so I just threw it out. And I found like 8 cast iron skillets and a couple coffee mugs, but no plates, no Tupperware, no Rubbermaid, no clothing really, other than a few boxes here and there. It was pretty much meat and potatoes, which is pretty awesome.
Good.
And I'm pretty stoked about it. It's going to be pretty good. It's going to be a lot of work. The computer stuff's pretty cool. There's a lot of old, C+, Turbo Pascal, tons of Linux, Unix. I know Brian Dalbatross is in the audience. I think he does Linux. Just a lot of stuff like that, and some obsolete crap. But for the most part, it was really cool, specialized stuff.
Nice.
Like the oscilloscope type stuff and some high dollar
Cool stuff.
and a time clock that stands about 4 feet tall, an antique solid oak cabinet time clock that's just cool as crap.
Cool.
So
Craig Murray says, any old computers, always watch out for Pentium Pro, good gold recovery value.
there's
These are predating Pentium Pro.
We're talking 8088.
yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. I did discover after I shot a video for it, I did discover there's an original Motorola
6800, I think it was, right?
yeah, 68 or 68,000
1,000, yeah.
what do they call it? An educational board or something. And we looked up on
educational board computer.
yeah, mine is revision C. Unfortunately, it's probably from 1983, 84. The ones that sold for like $1,000 were 1981, but it's still probably worth $300 or $400. And I only paid $650 for the whole unit, so that's pretty cool. Or $560. No, $560, but I had to buy it for $650 total.
What was the size of the unit?
It was a 10 by 15, but it wasn't stacked really high, so I knew I could fit it in a 15-foot U-Haul. We rented a U-Haul. That's going to cost about $150, $160. But I did sell a couple things to another guy that was there picking up another unit that he had won, and I sold him a welding machine and a battery charger and something else for basically what it is going to cost me to rent the U-Haul. So the U-Haul's a wash at this point. He paid me cash and hauled the crap off. So
Yeah. I just want to thank you guys for not making fun of me for asking what size the unit was.
That was a
I was hesitant in delivering that question that way, and you guys stayed out of the gutter. Thank you.
One.
How
If we were talking about your unit, I'm sure we would have said that.
How
Yeah.
what? How what, Jim?
Oh, how long did it take you to empty out the locker?
9 inches.
Okay.
You asked how long, so I had to keep that going.
Yeah, thanks.
So anyhow, it took about, with Tristan and Gabe helping, it took about, and taking a few breaks and digging through boxes, but not totally digging through. It took about 2.5, 3 hours.
It's not bad.
The unload took
You
longer.
know, somebody, was it you that asked me this morning, or Eric or Jason, would you have done it if you didn't have them helping?
That was me. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have. I've moved. Did y'all run Jeff off?
I guess so.
I've moved. I've moved an entire house with a hand truck, and he came in and he left again. You can do it. You can do anything with a hand truck if you learn about balance, if you learn about leverage, if you work smart and not hard. I can move a refrigerator by myself. He told me I need to get the refrigerator out of our house and go load it in the truck. I could do that by myself with a hand truck without even any risk of hurting myself.
Mhm.
You know, it's about leverage pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
I moved that Coke machine I bought recently by myself, and that was 400 pounds. So
Wow. Did you do that with a hand truck or?
an appliance dolly,
Okay,
same
yeah, same.
basics. Actually, the hand truck is actually a little bit longer lip on it, but the appliance dolly is stronger.
Appliance dollies are stronger and they have a strap. The only thing I hate is that the freaking wheels are so much smaller. So you feel like you're working more.
But once you get the balance right on them, it doesn't feel like it weighs any more than anything else. It's just getting that tilt right. And then I moved it with a trailer I'd rented, which had a ramp on it. So, you know, you go up and down the ramp on that. It was really, I thought it was going to be a lot harder to move, honestly. But when I picked it, I paid $50 for the Coke machine, and the change part on it is worth, you know, like $125. So I'll have to decide what I want to do with that. I got to check it out and see if it works and everything. But
At some point, it doesn't work too well with the hand truck. I think once it's around 600 or so pounds, then it gets a little dicey as far as balancing it.
Yeah.
To get the tilt.
for me, it's always the only time I've ever really had trouble is when it's so long that you have to get the right angle tilt, your arms are too far stretched out and the thing is cutting into your arms because it's just too tall.
Yeah.
That's when it gets a little dicey for me.
Anybody else do anything fun this week?
Jeff's limbering up over there.
No.
Fun this week? No, not really.
Interesting. The reason why we did this show?
Yeah,
I mean,
Amazon.
it's been an up and down week. I mean, I think for me as far as sales. So, and I did go to 2 auctions and I did buy a bunch of really cool military photos. Some photo books from a brigadier general that retired and passed away back in '78. But these are like books made out to him, showing him in all his walks of life. I already sold one of them. So, but I went to 2 auctions. That's all I basically bought, just because there just wasn't a lot out there.
Right.
But I've been more concentrating on listing.
Yeah, me too. I haven't bought anything in a couple of weeks now, I think.
Yeah, I didn't buy anything this week. I had an eBay bill. Well, my eBay bill is about $400 and I've got a week to go. I get kind of antsy about it. And because I typically throw money at it a little bit, each week to kind of avoid that big hit. And I didn't avoid it this month, so.
Yeah. Mine gets over 100. I throw 50 or 75 bucks at it.
Yeah.
Just like getting slapped in the face with a kielbasa.
Big shout out to Leisure Picker who solved the mystery of that China. I hadn't bothered doing more research on it. The pottery that was yellow that said Creek and had the TP or whatever, said like 1972. It's Creek Nation, Oklahoma Creek Pottery. What I'm finding on WorkPoint, I found the exact same stuff. They call it Creek Nation, made in Oklahoma, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought we said we figured it might be Creek Indian, but we just weren't real sure on it when we saw it. So,
Right.
Sweet.
I think the problem is nobody's drinking alcohol tonight. That's the big difference.
Yeah.
I am.
Oh, okay.
I am.
Just have to give it a few
I'm
minutes.
sorry. I'm drinking coffee tonight. We've had
Ballast.
tornadoes roll through my area, so
Look how nasty that is. Ballast Point Pineapple. It's a pineapple IPA. You can't really taste the pineapple though.
Oh, that's okay then.
You know, my favorite little liquor beer store had a 12-pack of it for $9.99 on like clearance, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll take it. It was a multi-pack. It's got pineapple and it's got three. It's got 4 each of 3 beers.
So earlier today, I was in a thrift store and I was scanning games. This is the whole reason for the title of the show. And a lot of the games that I typically can sell, I can no longer sell in collectible status. That's why I titled the show the way it did. And not necessarily that Amazon's squeezing third-party sellers. It's just that used category, the collectible category, I think is getting increasingly harder to sell in, and now that's causing me to change the way that I sell things. And it's going to become even tougher around here because really Amazon is the venue that works best for the items that I have available to buy. So,
and I did want to mention, because those that aren't familiar with Amazon, because we were talking about this earlier today, Amazon does not allow used toys. They allow collectible toys.
Yep.
There is no technical used category. Well, there is one, but the only person that's allowed to sell used toys is Amazon Warehouse Deals. You know, nobody, which is a division of Amazon, but there's no such thing really as used. They're all considered collectible. So when that term is used here in the next few minutes, it's kind of interchangeable. But
yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I sold media on Amazon. That was it. So.
right. And it's weird because there's I was scanning games like Scrabble Junior that I couldn't sell. Cranium Caribou, which I had sold 10 or 15 over the last 2 years, I can no longer sell there. So it's going to screw me up a little bit, but so bash Amazon.
When I first started on Amazon 3 or 4 years ago, that's what I started off with. That was my specialty too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of board games. I bought a lot of board games, and it's kind of, the market's gone the same way too, where I used to get them all from Salvation Army, besides garage sales, and Salvation Army doesn't, at least here, doesn't sell them anymore because kids, let's just say because kids, they get play with them and make a
They
big mess.
ransack them. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of ruined it for me. They're starting to bring the toys back a little bit at Salvation Army, but there's not that much of a market for them anymore. The prices have tanked, and like you said, Amazon, you can't do them anymore.
Right.
So, and eBay, the prices aren't that great.
No.
you know,
I just sold one yesterday that it's been taking 3 years, and I finally sold on eBay.
Wow.
So,
I think it's like anything else. I mean, you I don't know. I'm not going to bash Amazon. I mean, I still send stuff in, but I saw the writing. I think we've all seen the writing on the wall, you know, for quite a while. And it's just, you have to, okay, sorry, I'm looking at Creek Pottery and WorthPoint. I'll stop. Because I'm trying to figure out how much all that stuff's worth. You know, you had to see it coming. Like 3 or 4 years ago, you could sell anything, and then they gate DVDs, and everybody freaks out. Then they gate grocery, and they gate health and beauty, and they do this, that, and the other. I mean, I think for newcomers getting into the reselling game that maybe you're watching, like, I don't know, some old videos, Amazon FBA is great. Because, you know, even a year ago, that was kind of, or maybe more than a year ago, That was what everybody was kind of teaching and singing. Now, really, not so much anymore. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's still a good platform. It can still be a good platform. But I think for somebody that's new to it, that doesn't have a whole lot of money, it'd be dangerous as hell to go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff thinking you're going to send it into Amazon FBA. And I mean, they're smacking people right and left for, the manufacturers are getting smarter. They're putting pressure on Amazon to come in, and they're claiming intellectual property violations, even if it's not. I mean, what are you going to do? Fight Hasbro or fight Milton Bradley or whatever?
Yeah.
All they got to do is claim whatever, or whatever companies they hire, which a lot of times they use third-party companies, and it's just not worth it. It's not. I don't think it's Amazon squeezing. Well, that's probably a whole nother subject. I don't think Amazon's squeezing out the small guy. The difference between Amazon and eBay is this. Amazon also sells products itself. So Amazon wants to keep buying from Hasbro, from Milton Bradley, from Reebok, from Nike, or whatever, all these big brands. They don't want to ruin that relationship.
Right.
So when that company comes in and goes, you know what, we really got a problem, and and I'm sure this goes on with their buyers, we're really not going to sell you anything anymore. Your price is going to change or whatever. I mean, yeah, Amazon's got to look at it and go, okay, what do we do? Do we lose our main bread and butter for a lot of these board games or these shoes or clothing or these items, or do we kind of put the smack down on the third-party sellers? I mean, it's a business decision. I don't blame them for it. Do I think it's crappy? Yeah, probably whatever. But I mean, then go to eBay. I mean, that's my answer.
Yeah, I think Amazon is also pushing away from the used and collectible stuff. Clearly, Amazon themselves is only focused on new in box stuff. But as far as like the used, the collectibles, they, because of warranty issues and return rates are higher and all that kind of stuff. I believe that they're trying to stay away or steer away from that. Tom asked why can't I sell board games? It's the only ones that I've noticed were Hasbro and Cranium games I can't sell in collectible status. The Hasbro stuff was only the latest ones, like that Scrabble Junior I scanned is one that's still on the shelf today. So maybe it's not technically collectible because it's not a previous issue game. But yeah, I think they got squeezed by some brands and saying, hey, stop selling our stuff used, and they had to comply.
Resistance.
What did you start to say, Eric?
Resistance is futile.
Like I said, I never really got into those categories on Amazon, but from a retailer standpoint, they are also maybe examining the majority of their refunds, what their complaints are coming from, and they may be shutting some of those areas down because that's a pain in the ass to deal with. So if they tighten those areas up as well, or can sell certain, say they've had a bunch of games from Hasbro that get returned, and they've decided that that's just not working out for us, and we've got a relationship with Hasbro, so why not tighten it up? I mean, there's all kinds of analytics that go into why they lock an area down, and everybody complains like, they shut it down, it's going to cost them money. Well, in the end, it may not cost them money. They may be doing it as a savings factor for them as well.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's damn clay. That's why they get in return. All the clays are
dried up.
Dried up.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's a major issue on Amazon with board game sellers sending in incomplete games, and puzzle sellers the same thing.
So,
we always check our puzzles, and I've actually sent in complaints for higher ticket items, games admitting being incomplete in the condition notes. Sent that to Amazon, and they never did anything about it. So I think it's just gotten to be such a big problem where now these, brands that they have relationships with, they're going to start to crack down.
It's like any other business. If it's a major pain in the ass to deal with because of all the extra stuff, and we go back and say, boy, by the time we figure out how much money we're costing ourselves in shipping both ways, how much money our customer service people are having, how much time they spend on it, which time is money, me that they just say, you know what, I'm going to get out of that business. It's just not worth it. And if we can shut it down and lock it down, and the only thing that we're selling on there is brand new items, so then we have a defensive position. It's a brand new item.
Yep.
Then I can understand why they would do something like that. And yes, it may cost them some revenue, but on the back end, the cost savings are well worth whatever they would have made on the revenue side of it. So it makes sense to me. Like I said, I've been on the side of it, so I've seen people make that decision. So give me some.
You know, you're not going to see it. You're not going to see it on eBay because eBay doesn't have a vested interest in selling products, and they don't need a relationship with the manufacturer. They don't care. You know, they're a venue. If you want to do some really fascinating research, go look up Tiffany versus eBay and read about that kind of a landmark decision case type thing, where Tiffany basically said, "Hey, you're allowing, hey eBay, you're allowing fakes," and it went kind of back and forth, and eBay finally said, "You know, we're a venue, you know." But if that happened on Amazon, Amazon's going to be like, "Oh, okay, we're sorry because we buy Tiffany and we sell it, you know, sell it ourselves." I think it'd be a totally different thing. I don't know. For me, Amazon was a nice little afterthought that came about 10 years ago for us, when all of a sudden we discovered FBA. People were talking about YouTube videos, and we were already doing. Well, no, actually, we started selling on Amazon, period, 10 years ago. And then we moved to FBA 4 or 5 years ago, once we saw videos and stuff. But, you know, Amazon was just kind of some extra money. Hey, we can send books in over here. Hey, we can do new games, whatever. I hate to say that ship has sailed, but it really kind of has sailed, unless you're doing wholesale, you're doing private label. If you're new to the reselling game and you're going to try to break into Amazon, you think you're going to be able to pay your bills and keep your lights on, and that's all you're going to do, I mean, you're going to have a really tough time. I just don't think
you're going to lay out a lot of money up front to get a return on Amazon. That's the only thing from a new reselling standpoint that I see as the biggest negative about Amazon. If you're going to get into FBA really hot and hard, and you're going to be a road warrior, get out there, and you're going to spend a lot of money, and you're going to get that money back, but it comes in over time, where you have to go out and spend in decent quantities. So that's hard to do if you're trying to break into reselling.
Yeah.
eBay, you can go to your garage, pull out 10 things, and turn them into money.
Right.
So you kind of have to look at, you know.
Go ahead.
You kind of have to look at what what's your model? You know, how you going to build that model up? How are you going to build it? If you're doing this, because like I said, most of us don't do this. You know, sit around at a $75,000 a year job and go, God, I want to just sell on eBay for the rest of my life. And it's not that quite kind of decision. It's usually you start out part time, you're making a little extra money, then suddenly you realize it's an income stream, and then you kind of make that decision to, you know, I'm really doing really well here. If I put more hours into it, I can leave that crap job that I'm in and actually start doing this other job and start making some money.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I never really hit FBA hard. I mean, I was out there. If I sent in the occasional game and things like that, only if I happen to find a brand new in the package item, but I just wasn't looking for it. I was selling books and CDs and DVD, or not DVDs, CDs and books that I would buy at auction because I would get so many.
Craig Murray said, I have had several returns on the same item on Amazon that I have 50 or so quantity. Any way I can determine the return reason? You might be able to find out if you called and talked to somebody that understood what you're trying to ask with Amazon customer service, and that's not you, that's their customer service I was bashing. The biggest thing I can tell you, go read the reviews, go look at reviews, go look at the people that left 1, 2, 3 star. Chances are they don't know how to use it, and I don't even know what the item is. They don't know how to use it, the color, the description, something's not accurate on the Amazon page. I had that problem with some Sony Vaio laptop docks, and I finally, because people weren't reading it right, it only fit this specific series. And people were like, oh, it's for any Sony Vaio. Well, that's great. You know, and they returned every single one of them. And I finally just yanked them all back. I called them all back. Pocket door doorknob.
Probably the word pocket door. Don't understand what a pocket door is.
Yeah.
Although there's probably a picture there, I would imagine, but.
Dusty has to Google pocket door.
I know what-
I'll bite. What the
Pocket pool.
You gotta know what a pocket door is.
I know.
I have a pocket door right here.
You don't know what a pocket door is,
Yeah.
Casey?
I've heard
You
of
don't
a
know what a
pop.
pocket door is?
Never mind.
But it goes into the wall. Like when you open it, all the like the one I have.
Slides.
Imagine a Star Trek door. Those are pocket doors. You know?
Oh,
I had to get it into nerd speak for him. And you open them up and you go.
yeah. Got it.
Maybe that's the problem. People don't have enough of the. They're never mind.
No.
There was a Star Trek joke in here somewhere.
Steven Scroggins says, I always think of eBay as a blue-collar reseller website. I don't know if that's necessarily the way that I would view it myself. I mean, they sell, you can sell just as easily on eBay something that's new in package as you can on Amazon and get the same money for it.
I wouldn't call it blue collar. I would call it, eBay is primarily, in my opinion, eBay started out and still kind of maintains primarily a collectible website. And then they just expanded into new and used and all that type, stuff. But eBay based their whole history was on collectible and, can't find it in your area, look on eBay type stuff.
No, yeah, everybody seems to think Amazon is the gold standard, and they certainly are the biggest and, have the most sales, but I don't,
I think Amazon's seller back end is clunky as all get out.
It is.
For being such a big company and everything, it's hard to use. From somebody who is new, who started using it last October, it's difficult to understand what I was doing with it.
Yeah.
And I know I made several mistakes trying to set everything up and get it done right and understanding what I was doing.
Right.
So it was just whereas I think eBay essentially hasn't changed that much since they started. It's a very basic system. There's some cool tools in there now that didn't have back then, but I think it's virtually the same.
Yeah.
Craig Murray sent me a link to the pocket door knob thing he's talking about. Doesn't have any reviews, so that doesn't really help you right there. One of the things that I will say is that it's not whoever created the listing, which obviously you did not, unless the date first available was on May 29th, 2009, unless you've been selling for 8 years on Amazon. The listing pictures suck. I would probably try to find some better pictures. When you click on it to expand it and open it up, there's no multiple views of the lock mechanism itself. It doesn't show how the side locking mechanism works. And when you click on it to expand it and blow it up, it literally stays the same size. It's that big on that square pocket door is that big on my screen. It's like 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. I think people don't. It's something that requires installation, which I hate products that require installation because people don't know how to do it and they don't know what they're ordering.
I say, why would you not sell those on eBay anyway? I sell pocket door latches on eBay, and I sell usually 2 or 3 a month. And I don't get great amount of money. I get like $10 a piece for them.
No.
I would probably, probably pull them back and throw them on eBay.
That's an item that you're not going to find. The biggest problem you're going to, because that's something that you don't see pocket doors in new houses. So that's something that people who are restoring old houses or putting them in need those for the older houses. So their first instinct is probably not to go to Amazon on them.
Is it still 50 cents to recall an item or whatever? I'd recall. I don't know how many you have there unless you have a couple hundred, but I'd recall them back. And he said pay 75 cents a piece. I'd recall them back. I actually searched. That same description on eBay that you sent me for the item. There's none on there. So you would pretty much, as far as with that same model number, here's one that's very similar, but it's not the same brand. And actually it's exactly the same, but it's not the same brand. And this guy has sold 35 of them on eBay at $4.99 with $5.50 standard shipping. And you were looking at $10.75 prime. So you're going to net, I don't know how heavy those are. You're going to net $6 maybe.
Yeah.
You stick them over on eBay, you're probably going to net about the same.
Stick them over on eBay and let Amazon fulfill them for you.
Ooh,
Yeah,
good.
that's
Yeah,
what I would do.
actually really good. Yeah, thanks,
Get the
Jeff.
money to recall them.
Do you do that a lot, Jeff, or did you used to do that, didn't you?
Nope.
Jim, I know you do.
I do, yeah.
Multi-channel fulfillment.
I mean, I bought that channel, but not on Amazon anymore.
How is that going to be for the new seller standards that's going to come up? Does that get out the next day?
Yeah, it does. Typically, they take 2 to 3 days to get the item out. So adjust your listing, your shipping time. I would put 3 day just to be safe. But sometimes I put in orders for stuff that ship and they ship out the same day. So you just never know. I mean, never know. So put in 3 days and see just to be safe. And something that small should probably cost you no more than $5, I wouldn't think. I mean, should weigh less than a pound, I would think, for a latch set.
Yeah, those when I ship them out, mine are under 8 ounces. So
Yeah, I mean, you can go into your inventory on your order on that item in the drop down. Just click multi-channel fulfillment, put in a dummy address. It costs the same to ship it anywhere in the U.S., so that's a benefit, you know. But it's light, so it'd be the same on eBay. But if you had the item, so
Shipping weight on it, 4.8 ounces.
yeah, so it might even be $2.95 to ship it, which would actually be cheaper. Well, about the same.
Oh, they don't give you a commercial shipping rate?
I think that's the cheapest I've ever seen Amazon ship something out for me.
For multi-channel?
For multi-channel fulfillment, yeah.
Was $2.75?
$2.95, yep.
That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider the box
Or
for whatever.
it cost me $2.77 to ship mine, and I get $7.99 a piece for them.
Yeah.
Chris Piles is in the house. Chris Piles
Yep.
says he loves multi-channel. My only problem with multi, I tried it one time, and like you said, it took him two or 3 days to get back to me with a tracking number. And I'm kind of OCD when it comes to shipping things out the same day or worst case next day, and that kind of drove me insane and kind of steered me away, kind of discouraged me from doing it.
Yeah. Craig said no multi-channel option when I click to edit the listing. You don't want to edit the listing. You just want to find your item. You can either click the checkbox and then go back up to the top and hit the drop down, and there's a multi-channel, create multi-channel fulfillment order, I think is what it says. Or you can follow that line all the way to the right, and then there's a drop down there where you can do the same thing. Chris Pyle seems to like multi-channel fulfillment too. I mean, I do it for all my games that have been sitting there. Well, now 3 months. I used to wait 6 months, but anything that's been there 3 months, and it's funny. Like I'll list it on eBay and it'll sell, you know, in 2 or 3 days.
Are you a little cheaper on eBay than I am?
The cat's like, what is that? I'm sorry, go ahead. Are you cheaper on eBay?
A little bit, yeah. Well, in some cases, I get more money for it. So, like I sold a 1962 Tripoli mat set with the chips and everything. I think I got $12 for it, and I had it listed on Amazon for $10. So I made a little bit extra.
To the shores of. So what do you think, Jason?
I don't do Amazon, so I can't really give any input.
Okay, you can leave now.
Yeah. I'm like a little dunce in the corner right now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. What kind of brought it on today was you know, Jim was gonna do a show anyhow, and then he ran into that with that, you know, Hasbro or whatever it was, Mattel, Milton Bradley, major toy brand, and ran to that, and I was like, you know, are you finding that more and more? And he's like, yeah. And I said, how are you going to change your business model? You know, or are you, or how's that going to affect you? And then it was, I don't know. I think for me, it was don't get caught with your pants down. I'm going to change. You know, we were going to just change and shift over more to eBay before it got ugly. You know,
Yeah.
I have a really hard time sinking money in inventory that I don't know if that venue is going to change the rules tomorrow and not let me sell it anymore. It's hard for me to it feels like putting an awful lot of eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, and it's not throwing in the towel. It's not giving up. We just sent in a shipment the other day, you know, a very specific item that we sell quite a few of. Actually, it was the last of them. But if I come across something else, yeah, we'll send it into Amazon. But if I come across it, but I'm not going to go out looking with the specific, for me, going out looking with the specific buying habits in mind of sending it into Amazon.
Right.
You know, and if I get home and the price is about the same and it's a one-off, like I had 5 or 6 DVDs here a while back, and I'm approved for DVDs, but it's like, and I could have done okay with them on Amazon. My net profit would have been the same in the end. And it's like, you know what? It will take me to take pictures and list them for 6 DVDs. It will take me total 10 minutes. Why not just throw them on eBay and be done with it?
Yeah.
You know?
I've been doing that more and more, looking up games or toys or whatever I buy, coffee makers even, and you know, checking both sites and seeing what the cost difference would be. If I lose $5 or $10 and I can list it on eBay, then I would do that even.
Yep.
But yeah,
I just think maybe the days of buying something you could sell on eBay for $100, but you get 300 for Amazon are kind of going away.
yeah, there's still a couple of items. Like I bought those Fisher Price Kid Tough, the camera and the MP3 player. Those get crazy money on Amazon. It's actually something, if they sell fast enough, I'm gonna buy from eBay to send in. So
Yeah, but the eBay prices was not that much of a huge difference, was it?
the cameras were going for about 100. Where on Amazon I've got them listed for 220, and the MP3 digital recorder, whatever, they go for about 150, and I've got one listed for 400 right now. So,
I mean, I do remember the days of, like Eric was saying,
Yeah.
and I was guilty of it, of saying, you know, hey, you can send it in Amazon. You can get so much more of a premium of a premium over, you know, even the eBay or whatever. And I think it's not necessarily gone, but I think it's definitely dwindling. You've got
what was
so many
the big hit about Amazon, though? Amazon was always about free shipping and, you know, Prime and getting it out in 2 days, and eBay is pushing hard on the faster shipping.
Yep.
You know, that's the competition right there.
Craig Murray went through, and it's going to cost him $5.95 to do the multi-channel fulfillment on the pocket door latches, which is high.
I would, if they truly weigh what the Amazon spec page is saying of 5 ounces or whatever, what do you say, 75 of them? I would eat that 50 cent. What is it, 50 cents a unit? I'd eat the 37.50. I would pull them back. Craig, I sent you a link to a guy that is very successful in selling those. It looks like almost identical, but his aren't branded. I would copy his listing word for. I would actually click this, sell one like this, and like I said, that guy has sold 35 of them, and it looks like he's actually, you know, March 4th he sold 1, March 11th he sold 8, March 15th he sold 2, March 16th he sold 2. So it's not that he's selling one. He sold a couple, 3 or 4 in February. He's selling them at a pretty good rate. As much as it sucks, I'd eat the shipping cost to recall them, and I just get them back. I mean, because they're going to charge you what do we say, $5.75,
$5.95,
which is about $3.50 higher than what you could ship them for if you shipped them first class. So times 75 units, you're going to end up spending $357 times 37. I don't know what that is, $250 something extra in fulfillment costs.
Yeah,
I just bring them back.
Yep. The hell is on your nose, Jeff?
Mickey Mouse. Can't you tell?
No, I can't.
It's not so much that we can't tell. We're just trying to wonder why.
Who's the leader of the club that's made for
Why
you?
not? Sunday night.
It is the traditional night for a wonderful world of Walt Disney. So.
At first, I thought it was one of those Biore blackhead strips.
Think how much money you could make if you private label those with the Mickey Mouse symbol on them. You know.
Yeah.
Tom Huck said it seems harder. It seems Amazon is making it harder for third-party sellers. Do you think it will eventually feed back to those private labelers? I think private label's been, and I don't personally do private label, but I think it's been kind of a disaster for a while since they let the floodgates open on the Chinese that will copy anything. I mean, how are you going to have something made unless you're having it U.S. made, whatever? And even then, and I don't care if you have a copyright, if you have a trademark, if you have all the whatever. I mean, the Chinese don't care. But especially if you're having it made in a factory in China, how long is it going to be before they make the same thing? You know, and they're already, and they've been doing that for a year and a half. If you call your factory in China and tell them to make you, 10 of these, and you call them Jeff's Best box cutter openers or whatever, that factory is going to at some point, or somebody in China or somebody else is going to imitate. It's just, I'm not saying that that's a has-been thing. I personally, we have lots of opportunities to go into private labeling. I didn't want to do it. I mean, it's one of those, you get in, you get out really quick, and at any moment you can lose your ass and get stuck with $10,000 for the Jeff's box cutters.
Yeah.
eBay or Amazon rather needs to put. They really, and I think this will be coming at some point. They need to put the brakes on new sellers. eBay restricts new sellers to the extent of you can only do this or you can only do that. Amazon doesn't do anything.
Just like they did on merch.
Yeah, and it would not surprise me.
Because merch, they just put a freeze on all new applicants.
Yeah, and then they made a rule that if your design doesn't sell within X amount of months, they're going to take your design down. And I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
So that the catalog doesn't become all junked up. I think what's going to happen with Amazon at some point, they're going to disallow brand new sellers to just get on there and use flat file feeds and download the entire damn catalog and then put their own up, which is what a lot of the foreign sellers do, just re-upload it with their own pricing. I think all that's probably that. My guess is that's the next to go. Whether it happens a month from now, 6 months from now, a year, 2 years, I don't know.
Yeah,
but it needs to be done.
It doesn't really work though because people just re-upload the same thing. I mean, I do that too. So still gets clogged up.
Yeah.
Amazon's dead to me anyway, so it doesn't matter. At least as far as that, I mean, I'm doing well with merch, but Amazon's not even on my radar when I'm sourcing anymore. I mean, every once in a while, if I find something new and I can't find it on eBay, I'll whip out the Amazon seller app and scan it there and see if it's what it's going for on Amazon. But in my mind, I'm thinking I can get maybe the same or a little bit less on eBay.
Yeah.
I mean, I only have maybe a dozen items merchant fulfilled on Amazon right now.
But you're pretty much doing the same thing though, right, Jim? You're pretty much having to look when you buy stuff with keeping in the back of your mind, what if, can I get my money back off of eBay? You were kind of talking about that a little bit a minute ago.
Oh yeah. I always check both both sites. Board games, I tended to send to Amazon first, mainly because I can send it somewhere and they'll fulfill it for me. And I've only got, 300 square feet of space to kind of work in. So having FBA was a godsend to me as a reseller, because I don't need to have the space here, but I can continue to sell the things that I like to sell. If I had to keep an inventory of board games for eBay, you see how many board games I have that are missing pieces. Imagine, adding 500 items that are complete and just waiting to sell. I wouldn't have any space to do that. So, but I always have in the back of my mind that I'm going to have to, cross list and multi-channel fulfillment just to get it out of Amazon before they start hitting me with more fees. So I think that reason and others, of course, but the fact that Amazon's so unfriendly to, smaller guys, I feel like, with their fees, and it's just, I'm kind of shying away from it, but for right now it's still paying the bills. As long as it brings in X amount of dollars per month, then we're going to continue to do it. But
You just put a shed on you. You have a house, right?
I'm in a townhome right now.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've got no garage. Yeah, I looked into storage units and I can get them on the cheaper side for about $175 now.
You're in a college town.
Yeah, I'm in an area that's very expensive.
Like 3 universities within a 30-40 mile radius, and so all the cheap rental stuff, whether it be storage units or houses or whatever, kind of taken up by college kids whose mommies and daddies don't care.
Yep.
And my studio management, they just raised my water rate and the cam fees, both of them tripled with no notice. And I'm about ready to say, screw it, guys. Take me to court for the last 3 months.
Did they outline the cam fees, though? What caused that?
No. I just got my invoice for April Friday, and my cam fee for April is triple normal. And same with the water bill. And when I'm in there, all I have is a toilet, which gets used maybe once a month.
For cam fees, maybe they did something like put a new roof on the building or something, or repave.
What they want to do is, because with this new management and the owners want to fix the place up, so they're trying to get a treasure trove so they can do things. But I'm not going to pay it.
They can't raise your cam fees, out of your lease. Triple your cam fees.
Well,
they shouldn't be able to raise it based on money they haven't spent yet either.
Yeah, my lease basically says it's a percentage. It's 10% cam fees. So, yeah, I don't know. I might go through that again. I'm going to write them.
They can be wrong too. My dad with one of his UPS stores for 10 years. You'll love this. For 10 years, they billed him for this major property management company, billed him for the wrong cam fees. And for 10 years, it was 9 or 10 years. For almost 10 years, he called him every month and he wrote the check for less, according to what his records were. And when he got all said and done, sold the store, settled up everything else, he finally got an attorney involved. And they basically, I think at one point he just started paying it, but they ended up having to write him a big fat check when they discovered they were wrong. Their bookkeeping had been wrong. So they're, some of those bigger property management companies, even if it's a smaller one, they don't always know what they're doing either. So,
well, they forgot to bill my cam fee for like January and February, so that my March was higher. But yeah, in this invoice, they say, all the stuff that they forgot to bill me before, they're adding in as well as the increase. So I'm about ready to just go get a U-Haul truck, yank everything out, and say, screw you guys. See what you can squeeze out of me for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
I have the money saved up. I can afford it, but I'm not making any money with that property right now.
Yeah. Gene Norris asked, and after this we'll get off Amazon because it's fucking boring. Regarding Amazon, who covers warranties on these new items? Seems like warranties are for original purchasers. Wonder if Amazon is running into these issues.
If you spend about 15, 30 minutes reading the Amazon seller forum, this is an ongoing issue, and it has been for years and years and years. And it's how the manufacturers are getting around what's technically considered. When you have an item you're selling, if the warranty, and all warranties are different according to the manufacturer, warranties can say that they do extend to, you know, they extend for the life. You know, this phone could be 3 years regardless of who the user is or whatever. Or it can specifically say that it's only good for the original purchaser. When you have something that you're selling that the manufacturer didn't, it's basically called what's called a gray market good, so to speak. That's where the big issue is running into on Amazon. And the manufacturers are getting smarter and smarter, and they're saying, you know, changing their warranties to where it says it's only good for the original purchaser, with the exception of, you know, authorized distributors, stuff like that. And that's another reason I mean, there's so much that I could say about why I'm not going into any more Amazon than what I am. But I think eventually all manufacturers are going to figure out that's the only way we can really beat it, is to put a warranty on our stuff, change the warranty to where it doesn't extend. And then we go to Amazon and go, hey, it's a gray market good. It's not an originally purchased item because they're not an authorized distributor. It's a really fine line. It's fascinating to go read the seller forums. But basically that's the stance that Amazon takes. Eric, you started to say something.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, you know, as you buy something, you have the right to do whatever you want with it. I mean, that's first sale doctrine, so you can turn around and sell it. But the warranty, 90% of the warranties out there don't usually transfer to the next purchaser. Even though you sold it, it's still brand new in the packaging, the whole 9 yards. So I mean, technically, most of the time the warranty isn't going to cover that. But as a seller, you're responsible for that warranty. You know, anywhere. So you're responsible for it. If the manufacturer won't cover it, they're going to come back on you anyway. So you kind of have to think about that when you're selling.
When you buy something, you can do whatever you want with it, but you can't sell it as new.
No,
because of that issue. Because that's how a lot of people get in trouble, because the manufacturers come after you. You know, because you're selling the item as new. You can sell it as used, and they can't do a damn thing about it. You know, even if it's shrink wrapped and new in the box, but as long as you sell it used, they technically can't do anything about you selling it on any platform.
And there's a lot of case law, which I've read through a lot of because I'm just nerdy like that. There's a lot of case law out there where manufacturers have sued people that sold on Amazon or that sold wherever, you know, that were claiming things were new, and the manufacturers, I mean, there's a lot of tort law stuff out there if you go and just kind of search, that shows a lot of cases and examples of where manufacturers have successfully stopped people from selling as new, and they use the warranty thing. Manufacturers are getting smarter. I mean, they've been smarter for a while. They're using the warranty thing. They're using the intellectual property thing. They're using a lot of that. And that's just, to me, that's a venue that I just don't want to go on. I typically avoid new items that would involve any kind of warranty. Just avoid it completely. I mean, that's just my business model. I'm not saying you have to do that, but
I had a lot of issues with that because I bought that big box of cell phones. They're old stock flip phones, not smartphones at all. They're all brand new. But I had a few issues where people were saying, well, the service won't activate it until it's old stock. And I tell them that's not my issue. And I started putting in my listing, you know, buyer responsible for checking compatibility and activation with their provider. And one eBay person backed me up. The other person, another eBay did not. It just depends. But I still have that issue. I had a message here Friday. Some guy just, rather than open and return, he just sent me a message saying they wouldn't activate it. You know, I sent him back and I was going, sorry, dude.
Jeff, you look like Charles Manson right now. Just the whole time you're like going on that rant with the big helter-skelter. Your forehead, Jim and I are typing back and forth each other. So it is, it's not something to be scared of, but I think so many people get into this business and they go, and I love it when I hear first sale doctrine. I can do what I want to do. I mean, not that Eric was right. There is a first sale doctrine. You can do whatever the hell you want to do with your stuff, except for, and like Jeff was saying too, except for you need to check the warranty. And the fact of the matter is, you need to know the warranty on everything you're selling. And sometimes that involves going to the manufacturer's website, seeing what their warranty is, reading their warranty on their items. And for me, that's just not worth it for one-off stuff.
Sell on eBay and see what happens.
Yeah.
Take risks.
Walking Dead must be over. LV Looper's in the house.
That show I heard has gotten old.
I've lost interest in it, really.
It's
Jim, we didn't ban him yet, Jim? Still in here?
No.
I never watched that show.
too much blood for me.
I did see Thrift Daddy in here before, and he posted in the Reseller Happy Hour question that I said would make a good topic regarding estate sales and the baby boomer generation dying off. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Maybe an increase in estate sales. Does that change kind of your outlook over the next 20 or so years?
Nope.
No.
I can't think past tomorrow.
You just overloaded him.
Just understand that as baby boomers are dying off and those things are coming up for sale, you're also missing the collector market of people who want that stuff.
Right.
Dying off. So it's got to be something. There's nothing wrong with that stuff, but it's got to be something that's iconic or cool enough that it's going to transcend to the next generation.
Yeah, the snowflake generation doesn't want that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So you got to. I mean, if it's something that reminds them of their childhood, a lot of things that I like. I remember being in my house as a kid, so that type of stuff will still be good. But if you're talking about things that they collected from their childhood, it might not be cool enough to make the cut for. It's going to be a really hot little item. Right now, in 20 more years, maybe it will be. Then it's gonna kind of fold into antiquing type areas, and I think you see a lot of that with cast iron toys.
Yeah.
I think the market is not great on cast iron toys, and even tin toys, it's not as strong as it used to be.
Soft, yeah.
It's all cyclical.
The best stuff still coming in good money.
Yeah.
But for a long time, you could sell any cast iron toy for a decent amount of money. I mean, I was at auctions where I'd see cast iron toys going for $200 or $300, and they didn't care if it was a repo or not.
Yeah, the banks were crazy for a while too.
Tin toys would come out, and then they go nuts over tin toys, and condition didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
But that's so soft right now. It's like, well, okay, there's still good money there for rare and unusual, but you have to wonder, because again, those things also flood markets. Parents are 75, 76 years old, so when they pass away and the stuff they have and it floats out there in the market, is it going to depress the market, or is the stuff they have going to be really kind of cool? I mean, my dad's got cool stuff, but
Don't you think that as time goes by, there's more and more people trying to do this eBay reselling and looking for stuff, that's flooding the market anyway?
Yes and no, but what I see too is I see a lot of laziness, and I'm, for lack of a better word, I see a lot of people getting into this. He just throw his hands up in the air.
Yep.
And you're calling me lazy.
Yeah.
No, I see a lot of I see a lot of laziness, and not just with new resellers, because you have to start somewhere and you have to learn. I've watched people that have done this for years, and they don't want to move past the point of learning certain markets. And I think, like Jeff, you found a definite market in stuff that you sell, and you are willing to take the time and learn that business really well, and you've been successful with it. Most people would be too lazy. They'd be too lazy, or they just wouldn't have the money to invest in the equipment or the inventory, if that's the case. And I think, I don't know, it's cyclical. It's definitely cyclical with generations. I think I was showing Jim that article today that, the millennials are about to overcome the baby boomers as the baby boomers die out. That's the next generation. I have watched, as somebody that sold collectible stuff and done the online thing for right at almost 20 years now. I've watched 8-tracks be hot. I've watched 8-tracks. Vinyl has always kind of stayed because you're always going to have audiophiles that love vinyl. I've watched it go from 8-tracks to 8-tracks are dead now. You can't hardly give 8-tracks away. Cassettes, believe it or not, actually kind of sell. I mean, if you look what the VHS, people are buying VHS for whatever reason. But, you couldn't give VHS away a couple years ago. It's kind of the people that are my age or Eric's age or, well, not Eric, he's pretty old. But like the age of the majority of this panel right here, we're now going through that kind of second whatever. We're buying things. And so you're seeing stuff that we had as kids. I was born in 72. So 80s, 90s, things are, even early 90s stuff is starting to become popular again. And that's gonna change. It's gonna change, and it's gradually gonna kind of shift this way. Doesn't mean it's not gonna go back this way. But it's just, you kind of have to stay on top of markets.
I'm just like, the biggest craze on YouTube right now is clothing. I mean, blue jeans, yeah, because every other new YouTuber
Here we go.
clothes. And the market I've just watched, I don't sell clothes, but I watch things, and the market for clothes has just dropped steadily. It's steadily going down. Polaroids, that used to be my big thing, and I can't find them as much anymore, but the prices have come way down. And
but there's going to be people out there that are still buying Polaroids, they're not going to move past that. And at some point, they're going to be getting less and less, and their income is going to become less and less. And they didn't bother to learn something new. Yeah, I still pick them up if I find them. Jeff, you probably still pick them up. But I know if I price them at $27.99, free shipping.
They'll be gone in an hour.
That they're going to be sold within an hour, and it's going to be gone. So any Polaroid I pick up, as long as the eye cup is there, I don't mess with them.
Yeah, I only pick up 1 or 2 styles now. There's a lot of styles I don't pick up anymore because they're just not.
If you search jeans right now, and I'm going to narrow it down so I don't pick up any other categories, just the clothing category, and used only 1,035,035. That's a big number. 1,035,585 used pair of or items that have the word jeans in there.
Yeah.
Personally, and I'm not bashing jeans. There's people that make a living, but by God, you better be able to list 100 pair of jeans a day and expect only 15 of them to sell.
When I got back into eBay 2.5 years ago, jeans was one thing I was selling, and I was selling jeans at $30, $40 a pair. Those same pairs now are $20 to actually more like 15 to 20.
Yeah.
So I sell the occasional jeans every now and then, but I try to pick up, vintage Levi's made in the USA. That's what I'll pick up. But again, I don't go to thrift stores to buy stuff anymore. Yeah.
Corporal Coleco nailed it. Atari which was my generation. Atari was huge. I mean, I remember playing Nintendo. At the point Nintendo came out, Mike Tyson Punch-Out. That would have been like the original Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
I remember riding my moped. Here, I'll just go ahead and admit it. Riding my moped over to a friend's house. So I would have been 14, 15. So that'd been like 1986, 87. So I grew up more on ColecoVision, Atari, and all that. But my generation still has a little bit of that Nintendo. But Corporal Coleco said Atari was huge a few years ago, but now it's switched back to Nintendo. You're seeing a shift. So if you're still that guy, like I found that Atari yesterday in the storage unit, and it's not going to bring what it would have probably brought several years ago. I'd have been more excited if I opened it up and it was an original Nintendo with all the cartridges, honestly.
Yeah.
But that's learning and staying with the trends. And I just think a lot of people out there don't do that, Don't pay attention to the writings on the wall, and you're getting less and less for blue jeans than find something else.
Like board games, less and less board games.
1,035,585 85 results for used, drilled down to the clothing category only. Screw
A lot
that.
of jeans. You got to be something. There's got to be something special about them to make them sell. And even, what was it? Rock Revival was a big one, and some of the other ones. All right.
True Religion and
True Religion and
hell, I remember Apple Bottoms.
Did you wear them?
I did wear no. I didn't wear them.
I've got a pair from the '80s. I can't. It's Regiment something or other. I can't remember what they are. That I can't give them away at $18. So
yeah.
Tammy Talks had a good comment. I'll let Jim read it since it's Jim's show. But first, Junkin said it's about the 20-year reunion, and that's probably the best way to sum it up. It's about the 20-year reunion. It changes about every 3 to 5 years for new collectibles. So if you want to look at who's having a 20-year reunion right now, it's somebody that's 30, 37, 38 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that the stuff that they grew up on, that's kind of where you.
It's like
nice art.
Late 80s, early 90s.
So yeah, so you're seeing the 90s. Would you agree, Jim? Because you do a lot of games like what's that one, Mall Madness? Where have you seen? Because that's an 80s game. Where have you seen that one go?
Used to be
That's the newer version doesn't do quite as, but that original 80s, late 80s version. I mean, you're looking at $100.
wow.
Where last year, 2 years ago, might have. I mean, it was still high. It was still 60 or 70, but
Hold on, I sold one on Amazon about 3 years ago. I want to go find it.
yeah.
Yeah, I sold one 2 or 3 years ago. And just doesn't do as well.
Yeah, the crazy part wants to know, are Power Rangers going to be hot next?
They might be.
With the movie coming out, there's going to be a surge in its collectability, but I don't know. Power Rangers were never cool.
What do you mean?
They were never cool.
Oh, go Power Rangers!
Yeah, they were never cool. I'm sorry. They're like a coolness level of like Teletubbies.
Yeah.
Oh, Teletubbies are. Yeah, just evil.
They're evil.
But I wouldn't hesitate to pick up some vintage Power Ranger stuff and still throw it up, but I wouldn't pay much for it.
Just Power Rangers.
Until you see that trend where it's starting to really come in. But again, if it's all more about quality. If you got brand new vintage Power Ranger stuff still in the box, it's going to bring better money.
Right.
And just like I said, like anything else, there's a certain collectability in everything out there. It's just a matter of having the best that you can get your hands on. And L.B. Looper said, I watched them for a while, so they definitely weren't cool. Yeah, we'll agree with that.
All right, you want to touch on that one? Tammy Talk said, I don't understand all these YouTube channels that only talk about reselling clothes and telling people how to make $5,000 in a weekend, and it says buy clothes.
You're just going to save money, AdSense money.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a decent head on your shoulders. That's why you don't understand it, because they're full of shit.
because they're, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
They're full of shit.
And Jim is being very restrained right now. We just have to say that.
And I sell clothes. I mean, I sell clothes. I look for clothes every time I go to a Goodwill.
You can, if you
can make money.
20 out of the 24 hours a day listing your clothes. And
if you knew high-end brands, if you lived in an area that had a lot of high-end, yeah, you could make a living doing it. But I think the majority of the people watching this right now don't live in that area. They don't live in New
York City.
Whatever that suburb of north of Miami is, where everybody lives on the, that has the McMansions on the
Boca.
Yeah, Boca, like that. Not everybody lives in an area like that where you're going to walk into a thrift store and you're going to go, oh my God, Chanel dress, it's $1.99. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But there are people that do, and they do really well with clothing. But the majority of people that
Ronnie
are just
and Nicole,
huh?
Ronnie and Nicole, they both do real well with clothing.
Right, but they're not buying at $1.99 or 3 cents a pound or whatever the hell it is at the weigh and pay. You know,
No,
they're paying up for their stuff.
Yeah. For the most part there. I mean, to get those higher end brands, to bring those higher end dollars, you got to pay there's a higher entry price.
Right.
You're going to get out what you put into it.
Yeah, but that's with any type of collectible or any type of thing else. I mean, if you buy, I can go out and spend $300 and turn that into $900, or I can spend $30 and turn it into 90. I mean, it's, if you spend a little bit more, you're going to get a little bit more as a return. Well, I mean, I think Jason is can see that, sometimes he has to pay up for certain things, but the return is there.
Yeah, very true.
But I think the problem goes back to people trying to emulate what they see in a YouTube video, and they just don't live in that area. I mean, if you follow like my videos, for instance, I live in a town that was built on engineers, that was built on nerdy equipment and oscilloscopes. And there's probably a lot of people that would out there that would say, I've never been doing this 20 years, never seen an oscilloscope. Well, that's probably the 50th one that I got the other day that I've come across, in 10 years of living in Huntsville specifically, and it's easy for me to say, do this, do this, do this, do this. And it's people not going to do it. The problem is people follow blindly. I think they watch a video and they get hopeful because people want to be hopeful. But I think at some point you have to just say, okay, that's not going to work for me. I'm not going to find that in my area. Nothing wrong with watching it and keep it in the back of your mind. Learn brands. Watch those videos to learn brands or learn whatever, and keep that in the back of your mind. You've got to build a knowledge base. But no, I don't understand the new thing. We have a newer, younger generation coming in with a lot of videos, things like that. That's great. But like Jim said, there's a lot of them that are doing videos just to do videos. It's more about monetization. It's more about the AdSense revenue with YouTube, and it's not as much about actually teaching people to look for rare or unusual items. And I think that's where just common sense comes in.
I think even if I lived like 10 minutes, 15 minutes from a bin, which is a Goodwill outlet, where that's where a lot of these clothing YouTubers, that are reselling on eBay, that's where they're getting their clothes from. And they're selling $6.99 shirts, $9.99 shirts, every now and again a $20 shirt. Like, they're not hitting major home runs at the bins because they're out in the Goodwill stores. Even if I live close to the bin, I don't think I would go because it takes the same amount of time to list a $6.99 shirt as it does a $49.99 shirt. Like, to me, it's all about the amount of time that I'm spending listing this stuff. And I don't have enough time to list 100 shirts a day, when I can list 5 or 10, maybe, $49 shirts.
I don't have the energy, the aptitude, the mindset, or the will to sit there and measure and take pictures and list clothes.
I hate clothes.
I agree with you.
I had a guy ask me tonight on some brand new t-shirts. I've got like 50 of them, and they've sold just fine as size medium. And I had a guy, I was in the hangout before the show started with these guys, and the guy's like, can I get the measurements from top to person, whatever. Can I get the measurements from top to bottom? I'm like, oh my God, really? They've sold fine without it. But if I have to sit and measure stuff, I'm like Jeff. I have no desire. And I think that maybe that's a personality thing. Just like there are people that are put on this planet to work in factories that don't mind assembly line work, or that don't mind, and I'm not saying that selling clothing is assembly line work. In my brain, though, it is. I would hate it. I would absolutely hate it if I had to just sit there and pump out. I love the research. I love the cleaning. Tristan decided not to keep these. The cleaning up the little bunnies, the doing the research on that specific brand, the going down that rabbit hole for a minute and listing them and knowing that's something a little more unusual. I don't want to sell run-of-the-mill stuff. It's one of the reasons I don't do books and DVDs on Amazon anymore. I spent hundreds of hours in our dining room back when my office was in the living room. When we first started at FBA, when I got my new Dymo, I'll never forget, scanning barcodes and slapping labels and using this big fancy program to do it all. And you know what? It was fun, for a couple months. The money was good for several years. But God, I would hate myself if I had to do that. I mean, that's just me. That's my personality type. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. If your personality loves it, go for it.
I can't sit still in one place for more than 10 minutes. You know, I can click the picture, 3 pictures of it, come over here, list it, and then I can go play a video game for a half hour. I mean, that's the way I do things. Sitting there just measuring clothes, and you have to list 50 clothes to make the same amount of money. I bought not a board game, but it's a rare, I guess, portable Yahtzee game I found today, new in box. It's going for $85, and I paid $2 for it. 3 pictures up,
or you can sell 12 pairs of jeans.
Right.
I only own 2 pair of jeans. I'm not going to go buy 12 pairs of leather.
And I will say, I mean, clothing, if you want to have it as part of your mix, that's fine. But to just only do clothing, I mean,
I'll occasionally
unless you're those, they mentioned Ronnie Hart in the chat, and he does great with it. He, makes a lot of money with it. Nicole State makes a lot of money with it. But they're higher end brands, so it's not. They don't have to have 2,000 listings in their store to make a good living. They can narrow it down to 500, 600, 1,000 maybe, and have to pump out volume because they're spending their time on higher ticket items. They're not picking up every Van Heusen or Calvin Klein shirt that they find in a dirty bin next to some lady with ketchup all over her shirt.
Or there's people that are making up for it with volume, that are seriously just pumping it out with volume. It's either quality or volume. It's going to be one of the two.
Right.
And I don't have the eye for quality. My wife does, but I can't, make her. She has other wifely duties. But, she has other things that she needs to be doing. I can't make her go on every single whatever. If we had a bin nearby, she'd probably kill me. She'd probably shoot somebody. That's why I would never be able to take her to one. She'd just whip a pistol out and shoot them. But, but it's one of the two. It's either quality or quantity. So either you learn that, and it's just, but then again, it's the listing process. It's not my personality type. I'm like Jeff. I'm too OCD. I'm too ADD. I need sparkly shinies, and to me, collectibles and things that are interesting and the learning process, that's the sparkly shiny that my brain needs. Everybody's brain is different. So you know what? If you want to list blue jeans and you want to list 100 pairs a day and you can make a living doing it, then do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But too many people try to do that and follow those methods, and they're just not cut out with the personality type necessarily to even follow through and do that.
Right.
The only clothing my eye even goes towards is some T-shirts, like Harley Davidson T-shirt, or I found some vintage camel, the smoking camel guy, or a marine, what do you call them, BCDs? I don't know, marine uniforms, camel uniforms. I can get those usually for $1 a piece, and they'll go for an easy 20, and I don't have to measure them. I just put, like Dusty said, medium, large, or whatever on the tag, and I'm done.
For me, the one clothing I'll buy. For me, the one clothing I'll buy is sweaters. I buy high-end sweaters because they sell year-round for me.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking high-end, like Big Lebowski or like Coogee?
I've never found Big Lebowski, but Coogee. But I'll buy like anything that's kind of made in New Zealand, Ireland, Scotland, Ecuador, any of those areas, Australia, those type of sweaters bring a premium, and I rarely get less than 35 for them.
Anywhere where alpacas live in nature.
Alpaca, but again, it's a much higher quality sweater, so people love that type of stuff, and they'll pay up for them.
Yeah.
I have no crap I sold with stains on it, and I still made $100 off the damn thing.
And I have no problem doing if it was high-end clothing. Yeah, if I come across it, I'll grab it. I think it fascinates me more if it's vintage and or collect more, like you said, some high-end wool or some high-end whatever. Then I don't mind putting the effort into it. It doesn't bother me a bit. Those T-shirts, I bought 30 or 40 for 90 cents a piece. It was one listing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I sold highest price I ever got for a sweater was $230, and that was a Koozie sweater. So that was a
Did
Koozie
Bill-
cardigan, which you don't.
Did Bill Cosby buy it from you?
No, and I don't keyword Cosby. I'll spam a little bit with hip hop in there and Biggie maybe, but that's a 3D sweater. Those bring decent money, but
No.
and
Tammy talks.
those aren't that brand specific. But
Yeah.
I don't go out there and search for them. If I happen to be in a thrift store, I get a little bored. I want to change it up, so I go to the thrift store. I'll walk the sweater aisle. If I see nothing, I don't buy anything. I mean, it's just that simple.
You're gonna have me walking the sweater aisle tomorrow now.
Good money to be made in the sweater aisle. Don't. You're looking for foreign-made, high-quality fisherman cable knit type sweaters. And they will ship primarily. You can as Dusty says, we can stuff them into a padded flat rate and get them out there for $630. They're heavy.
Dusty never said stuff a damn expensive ass piece of clothing. Oh, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. For the love of God, if somebody spends, I had somebody bought a bunch of doorknobs tonight or drawer handles. They spent $84. I picked these up at an auction when the auctioneer was going, take choice on the table. Was it $5 for $1 or something? The guy bought 27 of them. He paid me $84 for them. Guy or woman or whatever. They need them for a project, which means they're probably a builder or remodeler of a house. They might be back for several of the other styles or whatever. They weighed 11 pounds. These are big, drawer pulls for 27 of them. And we were joking. I'm like, I'm not stuffing those in a padded flat rate for $6.30 when a regional A with some bubble wrap on their nice $90 purchase will only cost me $2.60 more.
Yeah.
And I just see too many people, I take the cheaper way out on first class items, small trinkets, stuff like that. Although I have stepped up more to boxes than bubble mailers. I use them about 50-50. But don't cram your stuff in trying to save the most amount of money. Have a little bit of pride in what you ship out,
Cram it in your cram hole.
Go ahead, Jim. Cram it.
Tammy talks about these the people that watch these new YouTubers, I assume, says, but those same people watching the videos are on Facebook saying I have 100 items on eBay and nothing is selling. That's probably because they're being advised to buy every Calvin Klein they see. When, if you're buying them for 50 cents and you want to sell them for $6, you can buy it. It still might not sell, but if you're in a Goodwill and you're paying $3.50 for a shirt, you don't want to buy the same brands that you're seeing on these videos.
If they're watching YouTube and taking their whole soul, sourcing information and going out there and looking off what they learned off of YouTube, they're never going to be successful.
No.
It's that simple. You're not going to be successful if you're watching a video on YouTube and saying, hey, please go buy this specific item right now and sell it. You'll make tons of money, because there's 25,000 other views watching that same thing going, hey, that's a good idea. And so then the market's flooded.
That's why I left
taking some items from videos, but it's not, someone that tells you you're going to be successful, buy this one item, and it's out there for everybody to see, the market's going to get depressed.
That's why what, Jeff?
Those Bolo groups.
Yeah.
I used to belong to those groups. Like they'd go what's that store? Not till Tuesday morning or something Tuesday.
Tuesday morning.
I like the fact that you said Till Tuesday, because they sing Voice of Scary. Good band.
Yeah.
Yeah, real great band.
4 years ago when I started off Amazon FBA, I was in these groups and they go, Tuesdays morning having their big clearance tomorrow. I run out and grab all this stuff, scan it. Oh, yeah, this is good, this is good. And then I get here and start working and ship it in. And there's 1,000 of them now, and they're worth, I have to wait till Christmas before I can make any money off of them.
Yep.
It's stupid. Don't stop being a lemming. Find your own niche.
Think for yourself, I think.
Yeah, that's my rant.
Oh, Eric just sold something, because I got to notice that it got away.
No, it ended.
Oh, okay.
That and
Target
clearances.
It's just I got like 50 of them. So it's like,
And watch videos to learn. I think it's you've got to move out of that mold of, I'm almost tired of saying it. You got to move out of that mold of selling average, ordinary, run of the mill. If you have to, I'll go down this rabbit hole again briefly. You have to train yourself to walk in and not look at the items that are familiar to you. Dig underneath the box and find that stuff that you wouldn't know what it was. If you don't recognize, Jeff apparently has an example of something. If you don't recognize what something is, you should probably go research that. Especially if you've been doing this for a couple of years. If you've got a couple of years under your belt, you've looked at every item under the sun imaginable in every thrift store possible, and all of a sudden you walk in and you go, I don't recognize what that is. I should look that up. And a good example was going through that storage unit stuff this weekend. I mean, there was a lot of stuff, and I spent, big thanks to these guys, for Eric hung in the longest at 8 hours in a hangout on my phone attached to the side of the U-Haul, backed up to the warehouse, with Eric helping me research and look. I was like, I don't know what this is. And I'd read the numbers and he would look it up, which saved me a ton of time. But, wow. But, but it's learning to look for stuff that you don't recognize. If you recognize it, chances are it's so common. I mean, not necessarily, I don't know how to explain. I mean, if you have that talent or that ability, then you already know what I'm talking about.
See, I ignored Dusty today because everything I got today is your run-of-the-mill common stuff. I thought
that's okay, but that's good. No, but that's good. That's good stuff that sells. You recognize that as being good.
All the calculators, Wii Fitness game, and micro cassettes. I mean, that's all I bought today in remote.
But Jeff, when you branched out into the quantity stuff and you went off into some weird stuff that you really wouldn't ordinarily have climbed underneath that table and grabbed that box at the flea market and open it up to find 200 of one item, how many of those have been total home runs for you too? Because you went a little more outside of your comfort zone, more so than what's on top of the table,
American flag patches. I bought 1,000 of these and they're selling.
I actually had a listing for those. I was lotting them up into 15 or 20. And I think I was getting $17.99 free shipping.
I'm selling them $5 or 5 flags for $14.95 free shipping.
Damn, how come yours are going for more? I can't remember how many I put in there.
I'm better than you. That's.
Oh, you want to buy all the rest of my patches I got? I got a couple hundred of some infantry one.
Yeah, for a nickel a piece. I got these for about 2 cents a piece. And I got his phone number so I can go buy more. And I got an Obama hat. Isn't that cool?
Obama.
Is that what it's pronounced?
No, pretty sure it doesn't. Pretty sure there's no Bama in that.
Oh, yeah, it's a Bama. Oh, Bama.
I think that's an Alabama state slogan.
I found this at a one of those storage units.
It's supposed to say "Go Bama."
Go Bama, yeah.
And I looked it up, and actually, this one sells for $30. It's new with tag. I'm not a fan, but capitalism has no politics.
Yeah.
If you posted a question in the side chat, we apologize in advance because of Jason Banana. We wouldn't have a freaking clue because apparently he's quoting The Sandlot, or I'm not sure what movie we're on right now.
I'm pretty sure he was quoting Matilda, but I'm not positive. I mean,
Matilda. Hey, the bearded pickers are back. It must be nap time. Must be over. Oh wow.
Sandlot, yeah.
So no, there's nothing wrong with that stuff. I mean, yeah, but that's not your normal. I mean, that's stuff that is going to be $50, $80 bill, depending on which Texas Instruments those are. I mean, yeah, I look for stuff like that I recognize to be expensive. But what I'm saying is, don't overlook. There's too many people that I've picked with in person that have watched a video and they said, "Wow, I would have never thought." I hear that over and over again. I would have never thought to have picked that up. I don't know what it is.
I agree with you.
To pick stuff up.
Whenever I'm looking around at the swap meet, especially in the boxes, I go for things that I don't know what the hell it is.
Exactly.
And I pick it up and I'll look it up on the phone and go, oh crap. And I did have some samples of that, but I must have already sold them. But yeah, I do that every week. I'll find something. I don't know what the hell this is, but I look it up and go, it's going for that much. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
That's the stuff you find the grand slams or the home runs or stuff like that. But it's just, I guess my point being, people are too afraid to branch out and to pick up stuff they don't recognize. That's the best time to pick something up and find a model number on it and look it up on your phone.
I thought this was a Roll Tide hat or something like that. What is that? Is that what Bama is? Roll Tide?
Obama?
Obama? Is it like a football team? I think I'm pissing off bearded picker.
I think you're supposed to say, "Oh, Bama."
Did you see that when I kicked the football off? Is that how it works? I don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Eric Gunter said, if you catch yourself saying, what the heck is that? Definitely look it up. That's
Right.
Craig Murray said, always grab something that catches your eye and you don't know.
But it's
That's
training
exactly
yourself.
what I'm talking about. There's not an easy way to explain it.
But it's training yourself to notice the stuff you don't know.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I go for the odd looking electronic things, like a rack mount. I find someone's a rack mount and I don't really know what it is, and I'll just type in the model number and go, crap, how much? I'll take it. That happens to me a lot. When I go for the common stuff like the dozen pairs of Nike cheer shoes, and they're still sitting in my garage after 3 months. You want those shoes, Dusty?
Thrift Daddy said.
No, we don't care what Thrift Daddy said.
Thrift Daddy asked or said or whatever. Oh, question. I guess that he asked. Do you think a lot of resellers fear taking chances and losing $30 to $50 on a single item? Yes.
Yes.
But when you have a smartphone and there's completeds right there, how can you? That's what I don't understand. People always go, I'd be too afraid to buy that. It's like the fact of the keys thing again. There were so many comments on that video. I'd be afraid to buy 40,000 keys. Or why? Why? If you did your research ahead of time, that auction didn't end for 3 days. You got 3 days to research what used keys sell for. How can you go wrong? The money's right there. You can see the sold. It's not a risk. Yeah, I think people absolutely, Joe. I think people are fearful of it, but they're unnecessarily fearful.
I did the research on those shoes, and they had sold for $50, $60, but I still bought them. And
did you screw up in your research by chance?
No. What the problem? I think with those shoes, you're selling them at the wrong time. Cheerleaders buy their shoes at the beginning of the season, not at the end.
Yeah, I'll have them then.
Worst case scenario, you could just use them.
It works.
There you go.
I think people are afraid to lose money on a purchase.
I'll admit I am always afraid. A lot of my purchases, I get sick to my stomach with anxiety because I have an anxiety disorder, and that triggers it. And lots of times, many times.
Did you not carry like pocket Xanax or something like that? You can like pop a Xanax and then just sit down and think about it and wait for it to dissolve into your tongue.
I don't know. I think out of all of us, I mean, Jason's probably got the one who's got the toughest stomach to deal with when he makes some of his purchases out there. So,
hell yeah.
You dump the type of money you dump and play with. I mean, that would give me heartburn. So,
I think you see a lot of that fear at auctions more so than out at a thrift store or at a flea market or something like that, where it's a slower pace. And people have the time to do their research, then they'll sit there and do their research. But I feel like when you go to an auction is when you really see people, not willing to pull the trigger on something that, you may know is, a really good profit at, 30, 50, 75, 100. But other people are not willing to make that move because they haven't done their research before they got there or whatever. They're not good at doing it on the fly.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like anything else. There's almost always time for research. You know, about the only time that you don't have it is a garage sale or a flea market or maybe an estate sale where you didn't get any type of, you know, information beforehand.
Well, in
Yeah,
those cases, you still have time to research it because you can pick the item up and research it.
Yeah, I was
Right
gonna
there.
say there's some times that you can, you know, lick the item, as we say, you know, and it's yours until you decide it's not. I mean, it's,
Right.
Yeah, but it's also different if you're buying in large, you know, like a decent sized lot. You know what I mean? Like, say for
Yeah, but
example, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, when I buy in a large lot, I'm not buying the lot. I'm buying one item out of the lot. I want that one item to pay for everything else, and everything else after that is gravy.
Yeah, right. But what if
Well,
you have a nice
that storage unit's a good example. We spent $50 on the storage unit, but we knew there was an antique. And we knew there was an antique time clock that was going to be worth 400 plus ish.
Right.
You
I
know,
think also it's a lot about the person's living situation. When you're first starting off and you're living paycheck to paycheck, or like when I first started, I couldn't spend a lot of money. I was buying dollar items. But today, after doing several PayPal capital loans and putting in my savings account, I can afford to take more of a risk and breathe a little bit more.
right.
Right.
And I get that, and I'm not discounting that by any means, and I totally agree. But I think there's a point where some people never move beyond where we all were at one point in time. I've seen so many people just never. I mean, I've known people that have been doing this 3 or 4 years, and they never have moved past the point of $12.99 items. And you know what? They're never really gonna get anywhere. I mean, it's gonna be really tough.
I mean, if you're counting on the money to pay a bill or eat next week, you know, you're not gonna take that big of a risk.
Right.
And I've been there.
You got to have a buying budget.
My mentality is still kind of there at times. You know, especially now when, you know, we're heading into the slow period, and the spring, summer, we all know is kind of the slow period for online sales.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I have to hibernate now and save that money.
Yeah, I didn't experience that last year. I actually increased sales last year.
All right. Mine stayed
Yeah,
last year, but I mean, it didn't dip as bad as it used to.
But I think that's more of a, you know, depends on what you sell.
Right.
Well, no, Jeff, you've had your vinyl thing. I mean, you've had some, you didn't sit and starve and have to live off savings either, though. Don't let us interrupt you if your phone's more important.
Yes, it is. What were you talking about?
But you didn't, no, you've had your steady items too that you knew would be steady throughout, regardless of what season.
Yeah, I have my little arts and craft crap that pretty much sells every day. If it wasn't for that, I would have definite dips. You know, days without sales.
Yeah.
And I think that's where expanding, you know, like for me, the collectibles antiques market, it doesn't slow down in the summertime. You know, the only people that slow down, not the only people, but I think, yes, people that spend a lot more time outdoors or doing things with their children, maybe moms, you know, maybe that type of stuff that might slow down a little more in the summer. But at the same time, if you're selling camping, hiking, you know, if you're selling stuff that's geared toward those seasons, you're not going to see a decrease in sales.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think collectibles. I don't see a slow market for items in the collectible categories. Really, I don't see a slow season.
No.
Do you, Eric, or Jason?
I don't slow down. I don't slow down at all unless it's me personally. I slow down. You know, like say for example, in the month of December, I don't really like to sell much, so I'll pretty much take that month off for the most part, and it's because of just that's the way I want things. It's not because I couldn't sell that month or anything like that. I constantly have a demand for the stuff that I buy, so I don't fall into that kind of problem per se.
for me, it's, I mean, I slow down in the summertime because I don't work it as hard, kind of like what Jason was saying. You know, he does it on purpose during December. For me, it's, I mean, I've got kids in soccer, and, you know, we go away on weekend trips more in the summertime. And, you know, I'm not inside taking pictures 9 hours a day. You know, and, you know, when it's hot out, I don't feel like working as hard. So you know, and that's my fault, totally my fault, you know, and my inventory, you know, will drop from, let's say, 500 items in my store down to 350. Well, of course, overall, my sales are going to slow. I have less stuff to sell.
Yeah, summertime when it gets hot out, I don't feel like going to garage sales or swap meets. So
Right.
yeah, that's why it's always dipped, because my inventory dips in those times. But now that I have the arts and crafts crap and the merch and stuff, it helps boost that, carry me through those times, right?
Keeps you level.
Turn the air conditioner on and forget about it.
Yeah.
Bearded Picker said most people slow down effort and blame it on everything else but themselves and their effort.
Again,
The opposite.
I blame myself. I know exactly what the problem is.
Yeah.
My anxiety is higher during the summer months, and I just don't feel like going out.
I kind of always say I'm as busy as I want myself to be.
Yeah.
That's
why I like
Moonlighter said the more you pick, the luckier you get. I would agree with that statement, minus the word luck.
Yeah.
And this subject is
Luck is more of a skill, in my opinion.
I think you hone your skill at some point. You don't get lucky, or you're hitting, like for me, when we moved to Huntsville 10 years ago and we were having to start, you know, kind of starting all over. I'm going to get back into, and I'd quit working for my dad and stuff. We're going to get back into eBay and whatever. You know, I tried all the thrift stores in town. They suck. I slowly dropped them off one at a time and honed it down to where this is a honey hole, this is a honey hole, this is a honey hole, this is a connection I know over here. This is a connection. This is a good auction company. Bad auction company, I won't go with them anymore. And you hone it to where it's not as much. And I'm sure that maybe Moonlighter didn't mean, you know, the word luck. Maybe he or she did. But I think you hone your skills to a point where it's not luck anymore. It's skill. It's definitely skill and knowledge, I think, for me. Jason, you're probably a good example that could talk about that of, you know, you sell a lot of tools, but when you started in tools 10, 15 years ago, you didn't know a whole lot. I mean, so then the fact that you're really successful at it now isn't lucky.
Right.
It's what?
It's just taking the time, the research, you know, you're building it up. You're building your knowledge base up to where now you're making very calculated risks, basically. You know, you're not really risking that much.
But they're no-brainer risks, wouldn't you say?
Right. Exactly. Very rarely that I'm taking a chance where I'm not gonna make a profit. Put it that way.
Craig Murray said, I can definitely see a change in my buying since I started reselling back in July. I bought things then that I would definitely pass up on now. I agree. I mean, you see that over the more time goes by, the more you look back and you go, holy cow, was I really selling that back then?
Coffee mugs?
Apparently Jeff has a good example.
Coffee mugs, anybody?
Are you not doing coffee mugs anymore?
I make my own now.
Oh, there you go.
I'll do occasionally some Starbucks. When I say Starbucks, I mean like their holiday line comes out. I got these. I got the crown ones. I mean, I bought dozens of those crown lid ones and sold them for triple the price. So, I mean, very select ones. But when I first started 4 or 5 years ago, coffee mugs were the thing, you know? Buy a coffee mug for $250 and sell it for $1 million.
And we were actually talking about that in a hangout the other day we were jokingly laughing about Starbucks mugs. And it's like, you can't give them away now. Yeah, but 3 years ago it was like, oh my God, it's the rare mermaid, whatever. And I mean, there's still ones that sell for good money, but I mean, it's kind of the last
You Are Here ones. And
the last You Are Here city that I bought was like Spain, whatever the Barcelona, or I don't even remember what it was. And I was like, oh my God, it's worth, and I grab it and I throw it in my pile of stuff that I'm buying. And I look it up and I'm like, I might get $30 out of that. What the hell happened to that market? You know,
the last 4 or 5 of the You Are Here, or not, the series before You Are Here, you know, I found a couple at my haul place or a thrift mart, and I looked them up and I've left them there. You know, they're just, they're not going for much anymore. The last mug I sold was a Tinkerbell mug, which was actually a rare one. I looked up and it was worth some good money, but I have a shelf full of my mugs that I bought 4 years ago.
I died at 95% of my mugs.
I'm about ready to take them out for target practice. And
I think I have 5 mugs listed, and they're all kind of unique and different, and only one of them's a Starbucks mug, so
yeah.
I held out a few from that storage unit, and I showed them in that video, but they were Intergraph, which is a company here locally that's pretty big. They were vintage. That's a pretty specialized company that there's probably, I mean, hell, I never went and looked them up, and I may end up throwing them in the donate pile if they're not worth anything. Intergraph mug. I mean, there's nothing inactive, and there's nothing incompleted. So I can kind of name my own price for somebody that, you know, works for that company that wants a vintage mug.
Right.
Yeah, there's lots of things.
I don't think I have any mugs in my inventory. Actually, I sent somebody the wrong Starbucks mug this week. So
Says
I sent them.
Yeah, says the guy that has 4 mugs right behind his head.
Well, yeah, I have mugs. Everybody has mugs.
Oh wait, I like that book behind you.
Yeah, thank you. By the way.
Yep. Just be careful. That thing's like 50 pounds. It'll knock you out cold.
I know. Yeah, I don't have mugs. I actually sent somebody the wrong Starbucks mug this week, and totally my fault. I just grabbed the wrong one, and she let me know, and I said, I'm so sorry. I'll send you out the right one. And she goes, do you want this one back? And I kind of laughed to myself as I typed in no, like just keep it. Like it was a Starbucks mug, but I was gonna get $12 for it. Like it's not worth it to pay for her to ship it back to me. So no, just keep it.
I did that with an LA architect Starbucks mug. I had 3 of them in different conditions. I sent the lady the wrong one twice, and so she ended up with 3 mugs when I was done, and I didn't care.
Yeah.
LV Looper said, I'm still new enough to it that my old bad purchases are still sitting around. I thank everyone here for my continuing education on what to and what not to look for. I mean, that's what it's about, learning, you know. And if you look back now on your stuff, like Craig Murray was saying, how stuff has changed, throw that stuff out. Throw it out. You probably made your money off of something else you picked up that day. Donate it right off your original cost of goods. Move on. There is a learning curve to this business. I mean, you're going to have, when you start out, you're going to have probably some bad buys because you didn't know how to research right, didn't research properly, didn't research at all. I mean, it just happens. You still have bad buys even if you've been done it for years and years. You know, it's going to happen. But hopefully they become the 1% bad buys and 99% good buys, whereas when you start out, it's kind of the opposite.
Now they're talking about how big my breasts are.
I'm about a C cup.
Oh my God, I announced today that I was an A cup, and to these guys, and I said, well, hold on, let me go check, and walk in the living room. I said, am I an A cup? And Tristan's like, really? What are you doing in there? And I'm like, "Don't do that."
But before that, we were talking about doing the show with our cleavage pushed in.
Because apparently that's the way to make a YouTube video.
Oh, it's not.
And sell clothes.
Don't listen to Joe.
Next week we're all gonna have low V-necks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear a see-through mesh T-shirt.
Yeah.
I remember those, like the old, was that the late '80s rock bands?
Scott Zilke, the Gandhi picker, said, effort meets opportunity. Lazy people call it luck. Successful people call it work. Hashtag.
Is he reading like
ZZ.
motivational posters on his?
I told him I saw that on a poster, I think.
Yeah, there was a cat hanging onto the yarn.
Yeah, the guidance counselor poster.
Thrift Daddy said, "Oh shit, shots fired." No, but people can watch what they want. It just makes me sad because there's a lot of people out there that really want to break into this business or want to be in this business. They're just trying to keep the lights on. They're trying to keep the power on. There's so much information out there, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, whatever. And there's people that are in it for the wrong reasons, aka teaching. And I just think it saddens me because there's a lot of good information out there. If people would take the time to learn, but people want to take the easy way out. It's a pretty face, or it's a set of boobs, or it's whatever it is on whatever video.
It's a promise of $1 million.
And it's a promise that you're going to make $1 million or whatever. And it saddens me because it gives people false hope, or they watch for the wrong reason. And in the end, it just makes their struggle to pay their bills even harder. And that does make me sad.
Joe watches videos for the wrong reason.
I can guarantee you that. Tube tops. Oh, we need tube tops.
That's why he watches videos. Tube tops.
But Junkin said at some point the risk changes from if you will make money on a buy, but to rather it changes to how much money you will make on a buy. Exactly.
Yeah.
I rub my Buddha belly.
Jeff, you gonna pull out your 6-pack there?
His 6-pack.
Gene Norris said, "I've been destashing and have found things I bought long ago and put away because they had value, only to find some of those today are no longer worth much." That's called inventory douching.
Yes, douching inventory.
And you heard that here first. Actually, we kind of owe that one to Nikki.
Yeah,
Don't do that
You coined that term, but
everything sells eventually.
it does.
it does. But not everything's worth the effort of listing and shipping either.
Well, if you've already listed it,
Coke trays.
why take it down? I mean, it's going to sell someday and make it all worthwhile.
Well, I'm assuming she was talking about unlisted inventory. I could be wrong.
No.
Remember the ladies that used to do this? Yeah, I just upped your ratings on your video.
It's more like the gay
So now my
range
contacts-
Does my shirt look better like this or this?
Wow. Jeff, you need to come back more often.
Scary movie or something like that.
Yeah,
where
scary
it's like,
movie.
does this maybe look gay?
I just doubled your AdSense revenue there, Jim.
Nice.
We now have our thumbnail for the show, though, at least. Come on.
Speaking of which, we have
2
69
hours.
people watching right
Yeah.
now.
But
if
you
you have
remember when we
questions-
did it? That was great. That was a great time. What about 70s or the 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, and people used to like put their sweaters and tie them around their pants.
I used to do that at nightclubs.
Yeah.
And get your jacket or sweater and tie it around your waist.
Yeah.
You're really preppy. You wore it around your shoulders tight, too, you know.
Oh yeah.
Problem is, I wore a trench coat, so I had to tie that around my waist and drag around the ground.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Did you ever sing Goodbye Horses or
No,
have that playing in the background at all?
no. Is that a movie? No.
No, that was the Buffalo Bill song from Silence of the Lambs.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Speaking of douching your inventory, we did that this week, and it's much fresher now. But I actually found about 10 items, and we only went through 4 totes. I found 10 items that eBay decided to unlist for.
Did eBay decide to douche for you without your permission?
Yes, right. Yes, so there was an unauthorized douching that we had to relist. And I actually ended up selling 3 or 4 items out of those 10 that we reposted. But yeah, it's always a good idea to go back into your inventory and check and see, you know, is this even up still? Because
I've
10
got
items is a lot.
things like that I go back there and I go, why isn't that sold yet? And I go look, and it's because it's not listed anymore for some reason.
Right. Yep.
And then I find items like some PS4 game that I sold 4 months ago, and for some reason it's still listed.
Right.
Yeah, I recently did a purge of my inventory too, and I found about a good 8 items that were on my shelf as completed, and they weren't listed anymore.
Yep.
So it was
Yeah.
just actually a couple $100 just sitting there
Right.
because I didn't notice.
Yeah.
It just takes effort. I don't feel like going out in my garage and inventorying my crap.
Right.
And by inventory, I mean check the shelf. But that's the
Well, I
extent
have
of my
a row of, like your tubs down there. I have a shelf, the full length of garage of baker's boxes full of all the small stuff. And then I have tons of board games on the top shelf. I have more bins over there. I mean, it would take me a week to go through that crap. And I just tossed all the board game parts because I don't feel like selling those anymore.
That's exactly what we did. All of our board game. We've got a couple, maybe 25 at most listings, but that's down from over 100. So we're not doing that anymore.
Well, it's like I had life game parts, Monopoly game parts, miscellaneous game parts, and except for the higher and the pewter pieces that I think will sell eventually, most of the stuff I just tossed, and if it comes up and they'll relist it, I'll just go find it and toss it, and
Right.
I don't bother anymore.
Yep.
Unless it's like more than $10.
Jeff, what's your percentage of sales between like your vinyl stuff and just your used merchandise that you sell on eBay and Amazon?
On eBay, it's probably now 75% vinyl decals, and the rest is all my used stuff.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay. So the vinyl's your majority of your business. Okay.
Yeah, now it is. I have about 1,000 listings, and 500, 600 are vinyl decal or vinyl decal related products, like my water bottles or whatever.
Yeah.
And since those are evergreen, all I gotta do is reset the quantity once in a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I still have like 400 used items up there.
Yeah.
It's dwindling down because a lot of it's game parts that as they come up, I go find it and throw it away.
Timmy Talk said, I wanted to watch this because I keep going back and forth about sourcing for Amazon. I'm thinking maybe not, but what about merch for Amazon? Any pros or cons for that? Jeff's probably the person to ask. I will say I'm horrible with graphic design. I have lots of great ideas, but as execution, like I use Microsoft Paint. Like I regularly, on a regular basis, send these guys pictures where I drew penises on somebody's face with the standard pink color that comes in Microsoft Paint. And they go, dude, that doesn't even did a kid draw that with a crayon? Like, I'm not good. Jeff Davidson is obviously, he does vinyl designs, whatever. I mean, he's good with stuff like that. I can't use
I
it.
buy a lot of my
That
designs.
last one was so out of scale.
Do what, Jeff?
I buy a lot of my designs now.
Yeah,
Because
go to
I'm
Fiverr.
doing it. As far as t-shirts, I buy a lot of my designs now, and merch has been good to me.
I mean, if you can get on Fiverr and pay somebody $5, I mean, our Alabama Pickers logo.
Don't do
No.
Fiverr.
Don't do Fiverr.
That's the one piece of advice. Fiverr has not been good to me at all.
Okay.
No, I go to Etsy, or there's some freelance sites, or I've signed up for a site recently where I pay $9 a month, and I have full commercial rights to everything they have on the site, and it's like 12,000 designs and stuff. So
Wow.
I've been going through it, and I'll piece things together so it's different than somebody else's.
What's the name of the website?
That's cool.
I'm not going to give the name of the website right now because
Screwyourself.com.
I'm gonna milk it for a while. But I mean, I had one design on merch, and it was political. It was the Obama, the new national holiday, which inauguration day, when Obama was gone. And overnight, I sold a couple hundred of that one shirt before they pulled it down because I used the Obama logo. And I guess I was wrong. But yeah, I made $1,000 off that one design in 3 days. So I mean, you can find designs and that go viral, or most of my shirts, I sell maybe 1 to 3 shirts a day on merch right now. And
How many designs do you have up?
I only have 50 designs up.
What do you do? T-shirt transfers or
What?
what?
No, merch. Merch is print on demand.
Oh, gotcha.
And I have them on my own website, which uses a Printful, which is a print-on-demand site service. So I sell them on my own site as well as merch.
Silly me, I'm so old school. I'm thinking you have like one of those presses that you do, you know.
Those do well. Print. What do you call it?
Screen print.
Screen print
Silk printing.
does real well, but I don't want to deal with a mess.
Yeah.
I'd rather just load it up and have somebody print on. You know, they do direct on garment printing. So I make $20 to $30 a day just off T-shirts, and I love it because I don't have to do anything. Load the design up once, and I'm done. Somebody else prints it. Somebody else ships it. Somebody else deals with returns.
Did you? Okay. Somebody asked, did you see any increase in sales with the Anchor store? It's too easy for me, or it's too easy. It's too early for me to. It's too early for me to tell. There's a lot of different factors that go into that. I've been listing more. Sales have been down the last 3 days, but I can't. That's also because I haven't done jack crap. I didn't answer offers till late. I was unloading a U-Haul and going through all that stuff in the storage unit for a day and a half. So, I mean, it's, is it that or is it the weekend slow? I mean, you can blame it on anything. You could also attribute, increased sales to anything as well. So I think for me, the ultimate litmus test would be to keep the Anchor store, see if it's worth it. It's going to pay for itself in the long run. Let's just say that. I have no qualms about it. It's a tax write-off. If it's $300 a month, that's $3,600 a year. I think that anybody that's full-time could use every tax write-off they could get, even if there was a hope and a prayer of any bump in it. But I think it's too early to say. I hate to be vague on that, but I just hate to say it when it's only been,
Couple
less
weeks,
than a
right?
month or whatever it's been.
What is it? $350?
If you commit to the year, I don't know what I paid for it. I have to go look. I just
$299, I think. If you
I
come,
pay $300 a month, but I was also paying $74.99 for the other one.
Yeah, 74. It's only
70.
60.
I don't know what it
$59,
was.
$59.99.
Yeah.
Hell, I don't know. I just pay my bill every month. It's a cost of doing business. So
That's a big jump, though. $60 to $300.
Yeah, it is a big jump.
I've thought about it because I'm at 1,000 listings right now.
well, I'm at 12, and that kind of brings us around to this next question. I'm at 1,200 and something. I'm down a little bit right now, 1,215, but I haven't been listing the last week or so because I've been busy buying and doing other things. That brings us to our next question. I do 7-day. Moonlighter asked, list good till canceled or 10 days. I've been doing 10 days, but consider changing. I do 7 to 10 days on items that are more long tail. Before I had the Anchor store, I would try them at 7, try them at 10 a couple times, then move them to 30. I don't like good till canceled. People can talk about re-indexing or whatever you want to call it till the cows come home. I think your listings seriously get lost, even in a 30-day listing, unless it's something like Jason's selling, where it's very specific, it's a specialized tool item for a specific machine. That's an exception.
Or if you're selling something mass quantity
that's selling on a regular basis, and you keep that momentum. Yeah. But I think when you talk about what to do or what not to do, I think you're preaching. We're all preaching to the masses that probably don't fall into that category, like what Jeff does, where it's, the Obama smokes weed in Alabama, apparently, vinyl decal that, he sells 10 of a day, and he wants to keep that momentum going.
Obama does weed.
I think if you have an item where, Eric, do you want to go into it? Because I'm getting tongue tied, and it's not the bigger.
When we looked at it for selling every 10 days, it was quite simply, we wanted the boost from aspect of newly listed and going gone was the old way, called it, ending soon. And you get that boost 3 times a month. If you list every 10 days, you get you get 3 newly listed and 3 going gone. Those are usually, like, in a newly listed, I think it's 48 hours and 24 hours of going gone. So you're kind of in that hyped up, hey, get this type of stuff. Really, if you think about it, 6 days or 3 days for every single time. So 9 days out of the month, you're actually getting a little bigger boost. And so it just made more sense to go after that again, everything you do is to move you up in the search engine, to get you onto that front page, to get you noticed. And that was one of the ways to get you noticed. Yep. Same thing with free shipping, same thing with top rated seller, fast and free. All those little things can help you move you up and jump you over to the next guy in front of you. And so if you do it that way, you do pay more per listing. You can run out of listings, but when I switched over, I wasn't even using all my listings. I had 400 items in my store, and I would, at the end of after my sales and my 400 items, I would be giving away 500 listings. Now I pay for an extra 200 listings a month. If I have 400 items in my store, I do it 3 times. I pay for an extra $20, but the jump is worth that $20.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to claim laziness again, and just too much work for me. I do 30 days.
I get it. There's nothing wrong with that, but like I said, I saw a huge jump in sales when I went to 10 days.
I'm sure you do, because it refreshes Cassini and all that stuff. That's why I do sell similar instead of auto relist. And
see, I don't do sell similar because it screws me up too much, because I have too many multi-quantity items. So I just do a relist. But I doubled my sales from what I was getting every month to started getting the next month. I actually doubled my sales, and I attribute that probably 75% of that went to the fact that I went to 10-day listings.
Yeah, not to toot my horn or anything, but I'm doing shipping for 4 or 5 hours a day with vinyl decals. I have to do all that. I'm doing shipping 4 or 5 hours a day. I'm okay with used stuff I have, and it's selling pace right now.
You have to print that stuff and then ship it and do the whole 9 yards with it as well. It's a process, but that's a different business model. You would probably love to be out of just the general selling of crap and just sell that type of stuff all day long. Ultimately, that's why for me, I like selling my varied stuff, and this just helps me. Yeah. It also keeps me looking at my store. It's very easy to let listings get stale and old, and you realize, oh my God, I haven't sold that thing for 2 years, and where the hell is it? And is it in the same shape it was when I put it away 2 years ago? That's another big concern. But
well, that's another thing. I still do that almost every day. Is I have to go through my unsolds, and I usually just batch sell similar. And I run into that problem if I have something with a quantity, I don't pay attention to it. It resets the quantity to the original listing. And then I have the customer saying, oops, sorry, I don't have that anymore.
Hey, Jeff, here's a good question from along the same lines from Brian the Oak Brook Picker. And you actually were one that kind of introduced me to this a year or so ago. Are you guys going to do the new promoted listings too for a boost? Jeff, I know you've been, like I said, you introduced me to them. You've been doing it for a long time. I've been doing both promotions and promoted listings for quite a while. And yeah, I've seen a huge, I've seen a huge increase.
I think that's what keeps me busy, because I remember last year I would have days, spring and summer, why I may only have 1 or 2 sales, and they're typically were a vinyl decal. But now I have all my vinyl decals are promoted and promoted listings, and the very minimum I have a day is usually 10 now.
Wow. And that's a good problem.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. Sometimes I don't like it when I have flare-ups from health and stuff, but I get my butt out of bed and I sit here and do my shipping.
Well, and I think one thing that I have changed, and I wanted to ask you this, but I think one thing that I have changed with the promoted listings that I was doing differently when I first started doing them, I was going with just kind of like 15%, or then I'd go to 20%. Like, hey, let's try it. I've now actually gone with whatever they're apply the trending prices.
Trending rates.
Do that, Jeff, or what do you go with on that?
Are you talking promoted listings or promoted?
Talk about promoted listings where you give them an extra percentage if they promote your listing, it sells
And it's sponsors.
of a click through.
I haven't even seen that. Because I have mine on for life. I haven't really gone back.
You can actually change that, and you can go in and apply the attorney. Do you know what percentage extra you pay them as a result?
I think I have mine set at, for the decals, I think I had it set for 5 or 6%.
Okay.
And then for other items, I have it a little bit higher, like the Nike shoes or the flags or whatever. I might have a little bit higher. Because anything I have a quantity of, because you have to have a quantity for promoted listings right now.
Yeah.
That's apparently going to change. But anything I have more than 2 of, I stick in promoted listings.
Corporal Calico said he just got into the trial or the beta that eBay has for promoted listings for single items that aren't multiple quantities. He said, I found just using the Markdown Manager works just as good. I do all 3. My routine is on a daily basis every morning, check my promotions, check my promoted listings, check my Markdown Manager, start a new sale in Markdown Manager if one ended. I constantly have those running. I run 20% off of my entire inventory pretty much all the time.
I have like all those stupid tech deck toys I bought and aren't selling. I have those on 40% off all the time. I generally run my entire store on sale 5% during the week, like Monday evening till Thursday night. And then generally from Friday afternoon to Sunday night, I do either a 10 or a 15%.
But you also do promoted listings and promotions on top of that, correct?
Yeah, I do all. Those are going constantly.
Well, that's the same thing I do. I do all 3 of them. And
My
I think
promoted
it
listings
works.
time.
I mean, Jeff has no problem with sales. I have no problem with sales. I think people are too afraid. You know, and I saw this a lot when oh God, I'm gonna open that can of worms with Jeff. But I think a lot when the spring seller update came, and there was some positive and there was some negative. But I saw a lot of people screaming, "Oh my God, I'm going to give away a percentage. I'm going to give away a percentage." I think, and not without talking necessarily about the new spring seller update, I think there's too many people just afraid to. I'm already giving them 10%. Why should I give them anything? Okay, then don't give them anything. Then your blue jeans will sit out there with the other 1,035,823 pairs of used blue jeans or whatever, and you won't get anything. You know, it's called marketing, and it's part of any business. You're going to spend money on advertising.
You can sit there
and apart from the competitors.
You can sit there and wait and hope you get your 200% profit, which I do get quite often. But or you can give a couple points away and sell it quicker and be able to and continually sell it quicker, and you'll make more money that way. I think.
Have to spend 4 hours a day shipping.
Yeah, rather than wait for that 200% markup and have to wait 6 months for it or whatever. I'd rather give us another 6% or 10% for promoted listings and get that thing sold in 24 hours or whatever.
Right.
Be able to turn it around and buy more stuff or buy more vinyl. Whatever.
All right, Jim Bennett, question to you from Merch. Damn, I'm old. Merch Monkey Stein.
Mecca Monkey Stein.
Didn't specifically address you, but I'm throwing it to you. We all hope our listed items will sell right away. What's an item that sold super quick or within hours of listing What's an item that is not sold that you expected would be a guaranteed sale?
Nike Cheers shoes.
I think an item that sold quick, super quick. I had recently bought an Osprey hiking backpack. It's on wheels as well. And it's supposed to be a 2 backpack set, a smaller backpack that clips into the larger one. And I didn't have that smaller backpack, so I thought it'd be a slower sale. But that sold within a couple of hours because I listed it right. I mean, the complete sets go for about $300. So I listed just the one piece, the larger piece of the set, at $200, and I took a best offer for $130 after putting it on sale. So it came down to $175. And then I took a best offer for $130. I paid $12.99 for it, so that's why I took the best offer. An item that is not sold that I expected would be a guaranteed sale. At auction, I bought a lot of aircraft magazines. It's called the Encyclopedia of Aircraft or some bullshit, but it's just in magazine form. And I thought it was such a specialized item. People probably had sets and were missing pieces, so I individually listed. I still haven't gotten to them all, but I individually listed about 40 of them, and I've sold a couple here and there, but they're not moving as fast as I'd like. But I paid $2.50 for the whole lot, so I've already made my money. So those are my 2 items.
I think for me, one that didn't sell recently was some vintage tobacco posters that even Eric goes, I can't believe you haven't sold those yet. That one was really surprising. I think as far as selling fast, I can't think. I probably here in 10 minutes it'll pop into my head and then I'll just blurt it out. But stuff that always sells fast if you price it correctly. Anything bullion related, anything in the bullion category, silver, gold that you're selling by weight. If you price a little above spot, that always sells quickly. Anytime I've ever listed an iPhone, anything related and priced it, accordingly, according to what average market is, and put best offer on there. I mean, that's usually pretty quick. Can you guys think of anything? Because I'm usually in Hangouts with you. Can you think of anything that recently that I know there was something recent, I can't remember what it was, that I literally got an offer in 2 minutes and that sold in 2 minutes and I went, wow. And I don't remember what it was, but
I don't remember either.
I remember you selling it, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, but I don't remember what it was either.
I mean, I remember I sold a little strawberry shortcake pamphlet, and one day I was listing a bunch of old toy pamphlets and booklets and stuff like that. And I was literally going through like a listing spree, listing 100 in several hours. And I remember I had a couple of them sell really fast. I just kind of threw them all out at $14.99. No best offer, just random price, just to kind of blow them out. They weighed half an ounce a piece.
I had a tinkle.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, the fastest seller, I mean, I said coins that I was selling for at silver weight. I remember listing like 5 batches of silver coins, and then I went back in. Because I was a turbo lister back then, so I uploaded them with turbo lister, and then I usually just immediately would get into my account and make sure they listed correctly. And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, did the upload fail or something like that? And I didn't have the phone that should change or anything like that. And it was freaking me out. Like, why can't I find this stuff? I just spent an hour getting this stuff up and listed, weighed out, and everything, and I couldn't find it. And what had happened was it had uploaded and they were purchased so fast that I never saw the listing. That was the fastest I've ever sold something. And then I've got a few too many items that are sitting still. Man, trying to think of something that I thought would sell. That's hard. That's hard to say because there's things that you think are going to sell and then they just don't. But I'd have to think about that one for a while.
Jason,
What were we talking about?
Jeff,
You
What?
lose, sir.
you've been passed over. Jeff, any of your stuff that's sold really quickly or really slowly that just surprised the crap out of you of how fast or how
I
slow it
can't
didn't sell?
remember. I've had things like Eric that as soon as I list it, it's sold that fast, but I couldn't tell you what it was because I can't remember past yesterday. So, no. And then if you want to talk things that are slow, I got the Nike shoes. I have marijuana patches. Yeah, I can go give you a list
Do you
of
sell
things.
the marijuana patches and the American flag in like a bundle?
That would be wrong. No. I actually had a best offer for the marijuana, and then he never paid. So,
Do you have a lot of those?
yeah, I have a couple hundred.
Oh yeah, you live in California.
I bought them with the American flag, so the same person. I thought that'd be a quick seller, so I bought the bag. I bought the American flags, and I bought the bag of pot. And no, it hasn't sold yet.
Back in pot.
It look. I've been meaning to take a picture of it and saying, "Look, I got a bag of pot." Yeah, I
Jim?
buy lots of things that don't sell.
What?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
Nah. I do want to say going back to promotions. I think a lot of sellers that have stores don't run the markdown manager, the promotions, and the promoted listings all at once because they don't want to leave money out there because everybody's worried about making the most profit that they can. And something that came up actually this morning, somebody bought out the rest of my office phones that I had. I bought 10 of them, and somebody bought the last 4. I had listed them for $25 a piece, put them on sale, and a guy offered me $20 a piece for them. And I had a promotion on there, say $15 if you spend 60 or more. So he offered me $20 a phone with free shipping if he bought the rest out, bought all 4 of them out. So I took that offer, and then he sent me a message saying, asking how come I didn't get the extra $15 off? It was still $60 or more. And if you take a best offer, they don't get the promotion as well. So they just get that,
And I've had that happen. I just replied, but that actually happened recently, and reply back with the, if you read the terms and conditions of that, it says this is on buy it now. It's not good on best offers. And then they go, oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Write them back and say, I just gave you $20 off, dude. What else do you want?
Right. But when you're considering an offer, maybe think about the promotion that you have running. It's not going to be much different than what they would get anyway. So.
Yeah. I always sit on my offers at least 3 hours anyway.
Do you really?
For most, if it's a good offer, I'll usually take it. But if it's I don't know, I'll sit on it because usually that having a watch on it triggers somebody to pay full price. I've had that happen 8 times out of 10 that if I sit an offer a little bit, somebody will buy it full price within an hour or two. It's happened so many times with me.
That's actually an interesting theory. Which
Which
we all know that offers do trigger a bump in visibility and things like that, and it does show, on a lot of listings. I don't know what determines which ones it does and doesn't, but it'll show to other buyers one offer.
Yeah. They go,
I've seen
crap, I better buy it.
that. And that does create a sense of urgency. That's actually interesting.
Yeah, I very rarely, unless it's a really good offer, close to my asking price anyway, I sit on them. And sometimes I'll sit on them all weekend. I'm not going to ship this out until Monday anyway. So I'll sit on them and see what offers come in.
Jason Bonanno said, must be the wine. I thought I saw a troll in here.
All right, something we're going to do now, apparently, is we're going to call out YouTubers that come in and just drop one comment and leave. So thank you very much, Andrew Picking Profits, for coming in here, making your shitty comment and leaving.
drops mic, walks off stage.
And I'll do that. Yeah. So now, if
No, but I do see that, and I see that with a lot with people. You know, that you've never commented on one single one, not him specifically, but you know, I do see that. I've seen that in the past with people. There's a few people from the green room that like to make what I call drive-by whatever. Hey, great video, whatever. And it's like, you're not watching the show. Come on, you know. Right. And I see that there's a couple of them, and I won't name names, but yeah, it's just kind of, come on. We're not dumb.
We'll just call them out as it happens. That's all.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. That's it. It's a douchey thing to do. Thank you very much for tuning in and leaving right away. I'd rather you just not come at all. That's what she said.
That's what she said. I'm a mouthful.
LB Looper said, you can tell I'm watching because my shitty comments keep coming.
And we appreciate the shitty comments.
LB Looper, you know, it's just a love-hate relationship. Some days I don't get you, but you know what? You are faithful as the sun, as the day is long. I don't know, faithful as whatever. I forgot what that expression was. And consistent.
Hey, you gonna do some shout-outs?
You want to do some shout-outs, Jason?
No, I just I'm not hosting.
Jason's like, I can't read. You know what? I'll do him. Jason's like, I can't. LV Looper said I tend to frustrate people. LV Looper, I'm not gonna lie, you do. You absolutely do.
You know, I'll concur on that.
But you have good questions too. You know what? It is all in good fun. He said it's all in good fun. But at the same time, you do bring good questions, and you're always there, and that to me means a ton. So don't get a big head over that. You know, the compliment part of it. But all right. So and Jim and Tara Carey, who apparently have been trolling and listening this whole entire time, said, "Oh boy." I haven't seen Jim. I haven't seen Tara. Well, we know it's not Jim because he can't type. But Bearded Picker said
it's not like he doesn't have any hands or anything.
So, all right, shout outs. We got Brian the Oakbrook Picker, LV Looper, Silver Hair Stacker, Bearded Picker, Jim and Tara Carey, 01 Woof, Going on Grumpy, hi Barbara, Jim S. Somebody else is going to have to take over here in a minute because I'm going to start repeating names. Jason Bono, I think that's the lead singer of U2. Leisure Picker, Corporal Calico, Steven Scroggins, Moonlighter. I'm going backwards here. Fred D. We have Mecha Monkey Stein, which I'm going to screw up your name because that's just what I do. Because I'm from Alabama and we can't read. Eric Gunther, Craig Murray, Thrift Daddy, also known as Joe Hare, D. Hector X, Gene Norris, Katie Lemons, Tammy Talks, The Comfortable Life,
Picking Profits,
The Wishing, the Working Fisherman, Sherry at Honeybee Treasure, Mother's Mustache, which I love the name. And then I'm going to go back and it's starting to all kind of run together. McJunkin,
and
Jennifer.
Ruthie D is leaving.
Ruthie D is leaving. Ruthie D, cool things.
That's it.
Oh,
thanks.
Tara said I was listing Jim sick. Now I feel bad for talking about her, Jim.
But
I'm sorry. I take back everything I said.
Well, it's late.
Toughen up, Buttercup.
It's late. It's like 7:30 in California.
It's 8:45. I have not eaten dinner yet.
What's for dinner?
I'm taking my Ambien in 10 minutes.
Oh, take your Ambien and come back.
Ooh. I can't get out of bed after I take Ambien. I'll make peanut butter Reese's cup sandwiches. I'm all out of peanut butter Reese's cups.
Take the phone to bed with you. I'll call you.
Promise.
And you can come on live. Come live on the show. Never mind. Jeff, always good to see you. I don't know. We don't talk much throughout the week. We should. We really should.
Because you don't invite me to your little private games.
You know,
I feel like Rudolph.
The sandbox is only so big.
I feel like Rudolph.
Diarrhea.
But I will. D Hector X said, how much do you think you will get for the Doctor Who cup, which was a mug?
What
that
Doctor?
I found an original 1987 that said like Doctor Who with the blue logo on one side, had the phone booth on the other side, had the copyright 1987 in that storage unit. It's probably 30, 40. I might try for a little bit more and just kind of let it sit. Do a best offer. Huh?
So you'll have to show that to me.
If you watch my 5-hour video.
It's my Doctor Who mug.
What's inside of it?
Nothing. Nothing.
Do you have on sweatpants with a belt buckle?
What? No, these are my workout pants. You know, I can do my MC Hammer. Uh-oh. Baggy pants.
Uh-oh is right.
I can go put my yoga pants on if you want.
No. Go take your Ambien and put on your yoga pants and then come back. I think it's a great plan.
I don't think that's going to happen. I'll get my Ambien and go to bed and read my comic books until I pass out. Working on the X-Men.
Well, tomorrow's Monday. I will holler at you. Let's break this non-tradition of not talking during the week. That's bullshit.
All right. You do shipping.
Are you going to respond, or is it going to be like all the other private messages I send you on Facebook where you respond like 4 days later?
I'll respond.
Okay.
I'll give you a hug.
I'll send you a winky face. That counts for something.
I got about 25 eBay items, 7 website items, and 1 Truegetter. So I have a busy morning.
Hey, so let me ask you a question before you go.
Yeah.
We were talking about Amazon affiliates and like affiliate programs and stuff like that. And I know you may or may not want, go into specific numbers, stuff like that. But, I was like this, for instance, this month I made like $15 off of Amazon affiliates. And it's one of those, if somebody asks for a link, and of course you have to tell them it's an affiliate link, or a friend wants to order something off of Amazon, say, hey, hit me up for an affiliate link, and they make a few, I don't know, what is it, 5% until you get to a certain level, 4%. You do pretty good. I mean, you do decent if you even want to talk about that with like affiliate stuff. I mean, is it worthwhile? It's a lot. I know it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I used to do real well because I used to design websites for Amazon affiliate products. Like I'd make a website on juicers, on the benefits of juicing or whatever. It'd be a 5-page website, and I have AdSense on there, and then I have affiliate links to different juicers that I did quote reviews of that I never even bought, never seen the product before, but I would do a review on it. And I had 50, 60 of those type of websites, and I used to do pretty well, a couple $100 a month on affiliate links for that. But Google has made it harder to rank those type of sites, so I only have a couple left. And the only other affiliates I do is for my print-on-demand site. So I put on my videos, and I do pretty well on that. I make about $100 a month off other people's t-shirts that way. So, I mean, I don't do that much affiliate work anymore, but I still make money from it.
Okay.
It's $100 a month is nothing to sneeze at.
Nope.
Half my car payment.
Anybody
Really?
want to take this question?
Really, middle finger leggings?
Your wife asked for them. I started doing women's leggings on my website, and I posted a thing about it on my Facebook today, and she said, yeah, I think I'll take one with covered in middle fingers. So I whipped one up, and there it is.
All right, go ahead, Jim.
Any advice for listing shipping heavier items that may ship to a P.O. box? Does Smart Post work for P.O. boxes?
No.
Yeah.
Before you do that, I'm out of here. So I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. See ya.
Good, Jeff.
Hey,
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't FedEx or UPS to a PO box.
Right. Even though
but you can do it
US
the other way
Post-
around.
Even though the second half is going to the office, it still doesn't work. So
right.
the
There are
UPS will
videos
accept
out
it.
there that are there are workarounds. You find the physical address for the post office. You put, 123 Main Street, box number, whatever. You send it FedEx ground. But I'm going to tell you, there are post offices out there that will reject it. So it's kind of a buyer beware kind of thing, or beware when you do it kind of thing. It's not a given. I've seen people actually have it get rejected and then sent back, and then you've got a late delivery ding and everything else. It's just
UPS will accept it, but what will happen is they'll figure out the address where it needs to go, and they'll charge you extra delivery fees.
oh, you had that happen.
Oh yeah. Suck the profit right out of that item. So
And how many extra dollars was that one on the extra fees they charge?
like an extra $18 on top of my already paying $40 shipping. So
Wow.
That was for a mug, right?
yeah, no, it was a big item. So, and like when I accepted the offer, I didn't realize it was going to a PO box. And so it would have been cheaper to ship it priority mail in the long run. It would have cost me like $50 to ship it priority mail because it was going to, Tacoma, Washington or something like that. And, I mean, it's not a big deal. I made profit on the whole buy that I had. It just kind of was crappy.
Right.
And like I said, the biggest part was I got the bill for UPS to pay, and I'm like, the hell, it was only supposed to be $42, and here's this bill for almost $60. I'm like, what? So yeah, it was crappy. But yeah, shipping heavier items, worst case scenario, you got parcel post, but if it's small enough to get into a flat rate, go flat rate. I mean, we were talking about that earlier today. We were looking at Jason was shipping something out to Washington, and costs are going to be high, but it'll fit into a flat rate. So
Now, one of the things you can do, you can create different shipping templates for a lot of stuff, and you can call them internally within eBay, whatever you want to call them. And I have one that's called, this is my personal tagging of that shipping template: heavy item, no Alaska, no Hawaii. And it's an item that when I click that shipping option when I'm listing the item on eBay, it will not allow to Alaska or Hawaii, because I know those are two places I can't do, FedEx or UPS really to ground. And so it eliminates that me being stuck to a faraway place with postal only.
I think if you just figure out your shipping based on USPS rates, then you're fine.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That was it. Just figure out your shipping rates before you list, based on what it'll cost through USPS.
yeah, usually for big heavy items, I'll do a calculate because I'm pre-ship most of the time. But if it's something really big and I don't know what it's going to cost based on where they buy it from, I'll just sell it as a calculated shipping item and I'll get it all ready to go, so that I have an accurate number to get in there, and then I'll be I'll be all right with it. I mean, it doesn't really matter at that point.
Mecha Monkey Stein said it was a balloon inflator, so no flat rate. Plus, he wanted it in 5 days. To Puerto Rico, no P.O. box. In that case, I would have said, well, get off your damn island and push it closer.
What is a balloon?
Expensive to ship to from a
It's
general.
What is a balloon inflator? Is that code for a helium tank?
Maybe one of those like party time one-use tanks.
Yeah.
That's small and heavy, but
Jason,
it's still probably. I mean,
you know you can say these things like on the show. You don't have to type in the chat.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You can say the shit hit the fan. Just say it.
Surely you can't be serious.
An air compressor for balloons.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like one of those, like, is it a mechanical thing or is it manual? Because I've seen like clowns or magicians use like something they push in and it does that. And Larry's getting larger. Now we're quoting Airplane.
Come on, you gotta love that movie though.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Give me Ham on 5 and hold the mayo. So my buddy was in town recently to promote his brewery and his beer that's now launching to this part of Alabama. And we had to do the tour of where he has to like be there. They've got it on tap on 4 different places. And so I'm like, okay, you're driving and we're gonna go and it's gonna be awesome, whatever, because I'm not driving. So it's just gonna be awesome. And we get back and we get back to my house. Oh, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever. And he's sitting on one couch. Tristan and I are laying on the other couch, and I'm like, we're flipping through like our Roku thing on Vudu or whatever. I'm like, we have an Airplane. He's like, dude, I haven't watched that in years. So we end up watching Airplane all over again.
It's better every time I watch it.
Boy trapped in a refrigerator.
Well, I saw that movie when I was a kid. Went to the movie theaters and saw that movie with a kid, and there was so much stuff that was just way over my head.
Yeah.
Had no idea they were joking. They were talking about, I was stationed on the coast of Drambuie. I'm like, I didn't know Drambuie was a liquor. I mean, you know that stuff when you're a kid, but it's funny as you get older. You're like, I get it now. I mean, that's fine.
Absolutely, it was funny as a kid, and it gets even funnier as an adult.
Yeah, I probably haven't seen that movie in 20 years. So I need to go back and watch it.
Captain, how soon can we land? I can't tell. You can tell me. I'm a doctor. Planes, trains, and automobiles. Where's your hand between 2 pillows? Those aren't pillows.
Oh,
Bless you.
Bless you.
Mecha Monkey Stein goes, it was a Qualitex electric balloon inflator. Don't tell Jeff, who's gone, we won't tell him, that I listed it with free shipping. That's one of those, I don't know. Here's the way I look at it. You're going to have occasional times where you lose on items. You're going to get stuck with that occasional item that's 4 or 5 pounds that you didn't disqualify Alaska or Hawaii, and by God, it's going to end up going there. But hopefully you're making enough money overall on other stuff that, sometimes you just suck it up and eat it,
Like spaghetti. I don't know. This show has gone downhill.
that means it had to start at the top. I don't think we ever peaked at the top there.
No.
So let's talk about the rock penis on eBay.
Jason found a rock penis on eBay
For $3,000.
for $3,000.
Yeah, it's in the reseller happy hour if you want to glance at the post. It's quite amusing.
Yes.
You never know where it's going to go or who it's going to go in.
All right. I think this is a good place to end it. I think rock penis is always a good place to end things. So thanks for tuning in, and we've been more regular with these, but better question: why is Jason looking for penises on eBay?
I don't use till they're
But
everybody.
because I was searching for rocks.
He says it's a hobby, but I think it's a personal use item he was
Oh,
looking
and
for.
you know what? When he tells us all about it, he goes, "I was looking for some tools, and I just came across this, guys." And we're like, "Really?"
Depends on what kind of tools you're searching for, you know.
Right. Right. All right, guys, that's it. Show's over. Nothing to see here.
We're pulling the plug.
Yeah. We'll see everybody next week sometime, probably, maybe, if we feel like it.
Maybe.
All right. Show's done. I'm hitting stop broadcast.
See ya.
Peace.
Stop.